Assembly is in Naivasha, Nakuru County for the 2024 National Assembly Leadership Retreat scheduled from today up until Wednesday. The retreat themed reinvigorating synergy in leadership for accelerated discharge of the mandate of the National Assembly builds on last year's theme, building synergy in leadership, enhancing the legislative agenda in the National Assembly. According to the program released by the Office of the National Assembly Speaker, the House leadership will convene to address key legislative priorities and strengthen synergy within the Assembly's leadership. President William Ruto has called on Kenyans to continue registering for SHA, noting that the government, in collaboration with Parliament, will ensure that the challenges faced in the insurance are resolved as soon as possible. According to the President, SHA is a relief for Kenyans, especially those suffering from chronic diseases.
Na mimi nataka niwashukuru wabunge. Tulifanya kazi na wao, tukapitisha sheria 4 mpya. Haijalishi kama uko na ugonjwa wa saratani ama kansa, kama uko na ile hypertension, kama uko na blood pressure, sasa itawezekana uende hospitali, utibiwe na gharama hiyo ilipwe na bima yetu sisi wote kama wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
His statement was backed up by Uasin Gishu Senator Jackson Mandago.
Ukienda hospitali, utafanyiwa diagnosis, utapimwa kwenye laboratory, utapewa dawa na hakuna fedha yeyote nyingine utalipia. Kwa hivyo, yale matatizo kidogo ambayo tunapata kwa kubadilisha system, na waomba mvumilie kwa sababu tumeweka macho yetu hapo ili kila Mkenya katika taifa la Kenya aweze kupata afya kwa karibu na kwa bei ama kwa pesa kwa kiwango.
The President further said that the government will build adequate infrastructure in a bid to improve the standards of CBC. And regarding the new funding system for universities, he said that the funding will be more suitable for students from disadvantaged families.
Tukiongea hivi, mnajua ya kwamba watoto wetu wanaendelea na mtihani. Na mwaka ujao tutakuwa na grade 9. Na katika hiyo grade 9 tunahitaji madarasa zaidi. Serikali imeweka mpango na tayari tuko katika kukamilisha madarasa 11,000. Ile funding model ambayo ni student centered, ili tuhakikishe ya kwamba hakuna mtoto wa Kenya hata awe anatoka jamii maskini atakosa kwenda TVET ama university na asome kama watoto wengine wa Kenya.
Now, leaders of Kenya Kwanza in Nandi County have expressed mixed reactions about the bill that aims to increase the presidential term limit from 5 to 7 years as proposed by Senator Samson Cherargei. Speaking in Kapsabet in Nandi County, the leaders including Karisa Nzai, political advisor to the President, Yulita Mitei, Deputy Governor of Nandi, and Zipporah Kireng, Member of Parliament, Yala, say the nation is facing many problems and that the solution is not to extend the terms of leaders.
Because hiyo haitengenezewi rais ambaye yuko, inatengenezewa hata rais mwingine na mwingine atakayekuja. Wananchi wakikubali kwamba wanataka tamu iwe extended, well, wananchi wakisema wakikataa, well, sisi tulijipanga na miaka yetu.
Yale mambo mnasikia, yale maoni yanatolewa kama kuongeza term limit, hiyo haitakuwa ni shida kwa sababu wananchi watakuwa moja, nchi ni moja na watazungumza moja.
And in the international scene, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared on Sunday that he called Israel's precise and powerful strikes on Iran had a success as his country's forces pounded targets in Gaza and Lebanon. The previous day's strikes by Israeli planes on military targets in Iran had fed fears that the Middle East was spiraling towards an ever wider conflict and triggered global calls for restraint. An emergency UN Security Council meeting will take place today at Iran's request, with Tehran calling for it to condemn the strikes. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
102.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Thank you very much, Eric, and it's good to be at the Situation Room.
Always a pleasure coming here. This is the most challenging interview panel in Kenya. You guys are very well informed, and as you can see, Charles today, very philosophical.
To be poor in this country is the greatest sin you can commit, not just from a legal perspective, but from life generally. It is very, very skewed.
We've just heard on the floor of Parliament, just most recently, a leader within the ODM saying that Sisi ni ng'ombe is a baba.
Yeah.
Which means that you are willing to be milked dry.
Hapo.
You cannot force me to believe. I'll give way. If it's land that I'm told to return to you, I will. Okay? Because the court has said so. But I'll continue saying, hawa watu wamenirusha. That's all that I'm doing.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning, and I love your show.
Thank you.
Having come from a Kikuyu radio background, I migrated to Spice because of the content.
I was born in a slum, but somehow I got a break in life. So sometimes when you see the sweating coming out because of the passion and whatever it is, behind the noise, there are people, and we share the same umbilical cord.
It shouldn't be like that. I am so disappointed. We used to tell Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga that he's doing politics of conmanship, and even President Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali hii ndio iko na conmanship ya hali ya juu. You cannot promise people that you reduce tax, then you double.
In politics, there is the issue of trust. For you to turn around and then stab the same people who gave you that trust, there is no other level of dishonesty. Na hii mambo utaona dunia tu.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No. It's about shipping out. You're my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they've been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a ship or a ship goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning and welcome to Monday. All right, let's take a look at what's happening on the streets this morning. We'll start off on the Thika Superhighway, where just a little bit of that has started as you get towards the junction between Murang'a Road and... hey, what's the name of this place again? I've already forgotten. My goodness. Wangari Maathai, that's what it is. A little bit of traffic starting to form there. Also getting into the city as you come off of Jogoo Road. We'll see some traffic there. It's very busy right around Wakulima this morning as you're coming in from Kamkunji at the roundabout. And we'll see some of that traffic getting into the city. On Uhuru Highway, it's also starting to build up, and this is coming off of Langata Road on this side, Lusaka Road on the other. A quick look at taking at what's going off of Mombasa Road, and really not much, at least not for now. There's a little bit of movement on the unfinished Forever Enterprise Road. Not a surprise. We're taking a look and keeping an eye on things this morning. Let's see what happens as we get into Monday proper. We'll talk SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your...
Spice and everything nice. All right.
Spice up your life. This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
How you doing? Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Happy Monday. It's the 28th of October, 2024. It's a final Monday of October. Sindio City. Final Monday. There'll be no other Monday on October this year, 2024.
Yes, it's the final Monday of October before Christmas. Yes.
Ay. Ndu. Uko hapa?
Imagine.
Na sasa wewe unakuja tu hivyo quietly.
Guten Tag.
Guess who's back? Tell a friend.
Imagine. Spread the word. Tell the world. Mambo vipi lakini?
Mambo sijui.
Is that so?
Yes.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Meaneth thou whateth?
Yo jimbo ilichezwa na kina nani?
Anaitwa Eminem.
Eminem. See Boys to Men.
It can be Boys to Men if you like, CT. It can be it can be whatever you want.
Wow, that song. Early in the morning like this.
Anafurahisha sana Ndu Okoh na Barack Obama.
You're not talking to Adaize.
Barack Obama was was addressing one of those rallies that they're doing now, and Eminem was there ahead of him. So he comes in and says, "I don't know what to say." After Eminem, I love me some Eminem. Sasa ndio huyu Ndu.
Ye kwesa kuja.
Adaize.
That's you now.
Adaize means what now? Means princess.
Older.
Okay. Ndu Kenya, Ndu airport planes, Nigeria. Coronation.
Adaize.
No, it's a
I dare say.
I'm right there with you.
It's a title.
A title.
I'm now titled.
So your title now is Adaize.
Yes.
What does that mean?
It's a group. Adaize is Eze is king. Adai is usually
Nyindi royalty.
Elder daughter. Elder female.
Okay. Where elder here means that it's an elevated position as opposed to just being
as opposed to being umuanyi, as opposed to just being the little children. Umuanyi. Say umu.
Umu I can say. Even umwanyi I can say. Umuanyi. Yes. Adaize.
Adaize.
See, now when it comes together it's Adaize. Very good.
I dare say. Adaize is back. Ben Omolo is saying, you see that stage behind there, Ndu? That one. It was built for performance.
Specifically.
Yeah? So when Adaize comes, she gotta perform out there. So play that song again.
Tomorrow I will come wearing...
Just at least 30 seconds of song.
Adaize.
Of which song?
The bungle, boom, boom. That
Do you know I'm actually a very shy person?
Yes. Of course you are. Even as well shy. Eric, have you stopped being shy?
Hi, my friend.
Me, he still bothers me.
Me, shyness. Shyness is my weakness.
Where did Ben Omolo say that?
So you play the song.
Ben Omolo.
See that one?
Which one?
See that one? The one you just played.
This one?
Yeah.
I'm not dancing anything for anybody.
Start again.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Obi Trice, real name, no gimmicks.
Coming out of my element. See? Never to return again.
Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. That's what happens.
That's what happens.
Very good.
It really happened.
Very good. That's a Ben Omolo to Mambuzi. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. Asanteni sana for tuning in this early morning, and for welcoming Ndu back. We'll be doing that again shortly. Let me tell you what we shall be discussing. We have good conversations today. Way, my friend. So at 7 a.m. we had invited Martha Karua last week, and she had an emergency that she needed to go and sort out. On her way here, she was called, so she went. So we did like that. Now she'll be here at 7 a.m. today. Shape up or ship out?
Ship out.
And we're asking ourselves, who is she shaping up? And who is she shipping out?
Who is shipping out?
Yeah. Now she'll come and tell us, who is she shipping up or shipping out? Ship up or chip out? At 8 a.m., we'll have a conversation about bribery in the country. And there's, the question is, have you recently been asked for a bribe? Not whether you've actually paid the bribe. Have you recently been asked for a bribe at any point?
Just wait. Bribe is when I give money, somebody gives me money.
Bribe is when you give something in return for something else.
That maybe like ordinarily you shouldn't be.
And is there a limit to what this thing is?
No.
Okay. Ask the question again.
Have you recently been asked for a bribe?
Been asked for a bribe. Have you recently offered one?
So, we'll be joined by two people, Nerima Wakojiwa, who's the executive director at Siasa Place, and Okoh Pondo, who is the civic educator. And both of them will come and tell us. They've been on the ground, and there are some young people who've actually just given back testimonies. It stretches from, people being asked for a bribe for a service, and in some cases, the bribe is not in cash. In some cases, the bribe is in kind. You know what I mean?
What?
Yep. Girls are arrested, girls go to a police station, girls are told, all right, you need to give something to head back home, and this something is... Come to the room. Imagine. All right? We will be hearing from them in that conversation. And then at 9 a.m., so we had a conversation about the proposed nuclear power plant in Kilifi last week, and we had Phyllis Omidio, and she came and said from the civil society side, what is it that they are objecting? What are their main objections to this? Now, of course, the NUPEA has a right of reply, and the director for nuclear energy infrastructure development at NUPEA will be joining us. His name is Engineer Eric Ohaga, addressing the concerns about Kenya's proposed nuclear power plant. So Engineer Ohaga joins us at 9 a.m. for that conversation. Tell us about the weather forecast at Haraka. Then you can accept the greetings from everybody else.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi already at 17 degrees. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 16. It's 14 and sunny in Nakuru with highs of 28 and lows of 13. And we'll see highs of 27 in a partly sunny Nyeri at 16. 13 and partly sunny already in Eldoret, highs of 25 and lows of 13, while into a sunny Mombasa at 26. We'll see highs of 31 and highs of 31 as well in a sunny Malindi. 21 and partly cloudy in Kisumu with highs of 29, while Kakamega at 17 is cloudy. We'll see highs of 28 and lows of 15. Kampala is raining heavily, so at 18, highs of 28, and Dar es Salaam is sunny at 26 with highs of 31. 9 degrees and mostly clear in Johannesburg with highs of 26, while Mogadishu at 26 is partly cloudy. We'll see highs of 31. Cloudy conditions at 13 in Addis Ababa with highs of 21 and lows of 10, while Lagos is clear at 26. We'll see highs of 31. 25 and partly cloudy in Kinshasa with highs of 30. And we're looking into a sunny Monday afternoon at 16 in Beijing with highs of 18. We'll see lows of 7. It's a foggy morning in Paris at 12 with highs of 17 and lows of 9, while London is raining at 13. We'll see highs of 16. We'll round things out in New York, where Sunday night is clear at 9 degrees. Coming into Monday, highs of 14 and lows of 6.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Everybody's in the room this morning being so kind. Don Sabwa says, CT, is there a looming PS reshuffle? Looming? You would know, I guess. Is there? Yes? No?
Don Sabwa, your guess is as good as mine.
Voila.
Yes.
Sasa.
Anatafuta kazi ama wote.
Sijui hata.
Okay.
Peter Kiaria, we see you. Asante sana. Robert Sabogo is also tuned in this morning. Nyadi Chukunzira says good morning to everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Hamjambo ndugu zanguni. Somebody used to say that. It was former President Uhuru Kenyatta, wasn't it? Ukiona Kobe ameinama anatunga sheria. What's Kobe?
Tortoise. It's a tortoise.
What?
The tortoise.
What we call tortoise.
What normal people would call tortoise? What normal people
call tortoise?
CT says it.
Tortoise.
Not noise. Tortoise. Okay. Cliff Machoka says usiku sako kama kawaida. Kwa nini? Onganya Malala says good morning. If SHA is not well managed, we shall have the same challenges we had with NHIF. Or one would, yes, imagine. Good morning. How does this president live with himself? Oh, well. Jimmy Monothi says, good morning, Spice family.
He doesn't live with himself. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Jack Atambo is here this morning. Kiongozi Omosh is also tuned in. Is Ifoma back? Ifoma is back. Gotea Ednah.
No, she's now...
No, I'm still Ifoma.
And then?
It's just that now...
She's Adaise.
In Igbodo, I'm known as Adaise. And my sisters and my cousins' sisters, sister cousins, and all those.
Now you are
of that age.
Is bigger.
Yes.
Yeah, of that age. Now.
Adaise is bigger than the former.
No, Informer is me. That's my name. Adaise is the title, and I'm not the only one.
That is Hanyabura. But previously she was an Omumu.
Okay. Robinson Gisero is tuned in this morning. Hey, while you were away, Gachagua was impeached. I hear people did something. Person no go kill person, I beg. James Mukabana, we see you. Good morning. Agri Mamani is also here. Says good morning. Agnes Akinyi says bonjour à tous, bonjour à toi. Good morning. A new week. Mtukufu Rice. Hey, yeah, issues. Calvin says good morning. Joe Mungai is tuned in and he's saying, is Honorable Cherarge a puppet or a puppeteer? Hey, okay. Simon Jake is also tuned this morning and says, good morning, watching from Buffalo in Minnesota. Jay Harper is tuned in. Welcome back. Thank you, all of you. We see you. Thank you so much for coming back. Good to be back. Everybody, Jay Capeto, Tibbs Muge, Karibu Sana, Wairori says, good morning. Good morning, kutoka Mulima. Rockies. Ndu, yes. As Jimmy McLeod says, good morning. George Okoh is also tuned in. James Waweru, thank you so much. Murima was touched while you were away. Hey. They did like that. Precious Gondi says good morning. Monica Oile is also here. Zachary is tuned in. Ruto Mengwa says good morning. Cecilia says good morning. Thank you so much. Ednah Ombaso. Kwani ni sangapi? Good morning to Jeffrey Mogaka. Ednah Ombaso, she did a thing, you know.
Hey.
Ednah, we can see you. Good morning. Hey, so many people online this morning. So good. Such a warm welcome. Such a nice thing to wake up to this morning. The Eagle has landed. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Moses, we see you. Bernard, Dawit, Harrison, Chris, Robinson, Vicky Awiti, Lucky Okoth, Nick Bala, and Moiruru Njane. Good morning, everybody. Karibuni Sana.
Yes. City, are we out of the Maghreb?
Last country. We are in the state of Libya.
Okay.
Not People's Democratic.
No longer that one. The state of.
The state of is Libya.
Okay.
All right. Interesting country, this one. Still in North Africa. Still in the Maghreb. Proverb. First one. He whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself at the fire.
He whose trousers are made of dry grass
should not
warm himself at the fire. Mzuri sana yo. Mzuri sana.
It's very true.
You could do's and don'ts. Yes.
Adaise.
Yes, sir.
Please give us a headline.
Okay, Uncle. DP aims wisdom jibe at Ruto in defining week. Isn't that interesting? Rigathi Gachagua is asking Kenyans to pray. This is on the front page of the Standard, just for your information.
Okay.
Rigathi Gachagua is asking Kenyans to pray for the president.
Okay.
To have wisdom, to offer some relief from what he has said was over taxation and a crumbling healthcare system. Oh God. This even as these lawyers want the Court of Appeal to stop the possible swearing in of Professor Kithure Kindiki this week. So, you know, the president, may God help you to realize that this is not the way to take Kenyans, you know, and also at the same time, you know, Supreme Court, stop this other guy from being sworn in.
In other words, Gachagua anasema ameachia Ruto Mungu. Huyu nimemwachia Mungu.
Sababu mimi nimejaribu mimi kama mimi.
Anahitaji maombi. Kwa kwenda mahoya.
ODM senators to block bid to tinker with term limit, and there's a picture there of one ODM senator, the senator for Nairobi, Edwin Sifuna. They want to say, you know what, you guys stop playing. Just if not play, stop on my beg. Just stop this kind of rubbish because we have other things that we can be dealing with. KPSEA exams begin as parents' anxiety rise over long holidays. The fate of thousands of candidates hangs in the balance as primary school national exams begin today. And this is the grade 6. The grade 6ers who will be sitting in this. Okay. The insecurity situation in parts of the country has complicated issues for officials, with some learners from different schools expected to sit papers in one centre. And at home, the big question is what children will do until January 7th when schools open. I saw something the other day and somebody said, holidays have started. Yeah. Every week we buy a truck of bread. We buy a whole mkokoteni of, what are those things called? Noodles. Every week. And your phone is ringing every 3 minutes. Mom, the passport isn't working. Dad, I don't know what. So what to do with your children until the 7th of January? So will you eat them? Keep them in the house now. Illegal trade in endangered parrot thrives despite law. While official records from KWS paint a grim picture of just 12 remaining in the wild, the reality is far from alarming. A black market for the African grey parrot is flourishing in private homes. So you know when you walk in somebody's house and you say, good afternoon, and somebody says, good afternoon? It's not an individual. It's a parrot. And they're saying that you people, the thing is endangered and you're keeping it in your house. And there's a law against this thing. Okay. Good afternoon. Yeah. Trump-Kamala rampant pitches last night was electrifying to see everybody. Madison Square Garden in New York, which is usually Republican, which is usually a Democrat's vote. Donald Trump was hoping that he will be able to get votes. They said since 1980, New York has never voted in the way of the Republicans. It will be interesting to see what happens in the next 11 days. Survey, CEOs jittery over growth plans. We shall see, shan't we?
Shant.
Yeah.
There are screenshots of the other papers, and we shall just look at them in terms of the headlines. CTV, look in the group. Lydiah metwekea of vitu.
Mimi kwisha ona ye.
Umeona? Yes. Very good. So tell us about the East African and the Star.
Let me start with the Star. Leaders laud Ruto for steadying country policy changes.
Okay, so
Senator Okoh said broad-based government is recipe for development. Where? What was that thing you said about the grey parrot again?
The African grey parrot is an endangered species. However, the black market is thriving.
Let me read this headline.
Senator Okoh of ODM says...
Let me read this headline again and tell me if the species is endangered. Leaders, not leader, for steadying country policy changes. Senator Okoh said broad-based government is a recipe for development. Okay, scare. These people should be getting their facts right. Leaders, activists demand Boniface Mwangi release. Where? They caught Boni.
Bana ye.
What did Boni do?
Yesterday in the morning in his house, very early.
Very early?
People came and took him out.
The charge is inciting violence.
Boni was inciting violence? Oh dear.
Alikuwa amesema about Occupy Stand Chat Marathon.
Oh dear. Anyway, we have heard. Israeli PM Netanyahu heckled by Hamas attack victims' relatives at memorial. Have you heard? Yes.
He was heckled, eh?
He was heckled.
Good.
He was heckled. So he knows what to be heckled means like. Ruto. Most depots have fertilizer for new planting season. You know this story of fertilizer?
When is the planting season?
No.
So this one.
I'm not.
Oh, now?
Yes.
Okay.
Before the rains do the thing, and the thing does the thing. The East African.
Yeah.
So no, let me not. That's bang in the middle of the paper.
Start elsewhere.
Before we do that, charitable Baba Queen of Nairobi. Yani, this sister goes out. Yes, charitable. Meets you and you're looking a little unkempt in the middle of the street.
She'll shave you.
Not just shave, put something around your neck. Okay? She's got her gloves on and she's got this portable machine and zzz, gone. Again, zzz, gone. Zzz, mohawk. Zzz, yes.
Styro.
Okay. Where do you get the dollar in Kigali? Government attributes scarcity to booming economic activity. Okay. Make voter numbers true, sacred again. Generally, Ulimwengu argues for getting figures right. Somehow, he believes the figures are not okay. The weapon IMF needs to deploy, billions, could be made available to help Africa. That's what they say. Right. Bang in the middle of the paper is very interesting. No, not quite bang, but at the top of the paper. Rwanda. EAC partners are exploiting us. Kigali traders roiled by tariff and non-tariff barriers. I don't know the story. To tariff or not to tariff?
To tariff.
Now, long awaited, bang in the middle of the paper. Somalia. Reasons Ethiopia shouldn't join new AU force. President Mohammed says Addis is a threat to Somalia. Territorial integrity as he grapples with uncertainties around funding of the post-ATMIS arrangement.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
All is not well in the Horn of Africa.
Kabisa. In the People Daily, pray for Ruto, cries Rigiji. Yeah. Then they have a story there in the People Daily. 3 years and still waiting. Will he choose me? They have a photo of a woman who's just looking pensive and asking herself that question.
Will who choose
3
me?
years and still waiting. Will he choose me?
Will he or will he not?
To choose or not to choose?
To be chosen. Okay.
Yeah, the Business Daily. Half of firms face delisting in secret owners crackdown. Allah. More than half of the 794,000 registered companies in Kenya risk delisting for failing to disclose the identities of their secret shareholders who control more than 10% stake in the firms. Where? Yeah. IMF is upset by Kenya's move for 193 billion shillings UAE debt. See, Kenya said that he went to UAE and said, you give us some money. IMF is like,
give you what?
Why are you going to Dubai?
Should have come here first.
Why? So IMF is not happy because Kenya dare ask another country for what?
Money.
For money.
When we should be asking them for
for money. In the Daily Nation, let's start on the side. Push to make party hopping legal and easier. Hey, cry these people. Page 4 of the Daily Nation. Raila, the unlikely force steadying Ruto's ship. Devolution, why counties will wait longer for new revenue sharing formula. Crime, fresh details on the Eastleigh murder suspect. Yeah, police have released the photo of who they consider to be the prime suspect in that gruesome murder of mother, daughter, and niece.
Terrible.
Horrible. The main story in the Business Daily is 4-word headline. Our turn to eat. That's the headline in the Daily Nation today. On the 5th of January last year, President William Ruto maintained that he was keen to form a state capture commission to end the culture of contracts going to public officials or the politically connected elite, which was a key campaign pledge. However, it has emerged that at least 8 Kenya Kwanza flagship projects are mired in controversy stemming from conflict of interest, some benefiting the president's family directly. Here's a quote here. William Ruto, his Western Hotel has bagged 37 tenders worth 57.9 million shillings, more than any other establishment whose contracts have been published in the public procurement portal. Western Hotel, 37 tenders. Rigathi Gachagua, his sons Keith and Kevin own a firm that was an agent for one of the companies that caused the Global Fund to cancel a 3.7 billion tender for supply of mosquito nets. Mosquito nets. Then they have other small headlines here with the photos. They have a photo of a gentleman called Silas Kibet Simator, the majority shareholder of Okoh Insurance, where President Ruto's family owns a stake, was recently appointed to lead the Digital Health Agency. The Digital Health Agency is among institutions merged in the controversial contracting of Safaricom, Convergence Network Solutions, and Apero Limited for the supply of an integrated healthcare system for 104 billion shillings. That is Silas Kibet Simator. Next one, Mere Wabui Mogai. She is the chairperson of the Communication Authority.
Yes.
Her Puma Holdings, Chama Holdings, Enterprise Supplies Limited, and Evertech General Trading Company. Those are big companies. 4. Puma Holdings, Chama Holdings, Enterprise Supplies Limited, and Evertech General Trading Company. Those 4 companies bagged tenders from the Kenya National Trading Corporation for the supply of rice, beans, and cooking oil, valued at 6.8 billion shillings.
Nothing costs $1 million these days.
No,
What is
sorry.
a million?
What is a million?
Her Nightingale Enterprises also won a contract for the supplying and laying of fiber optic cable as part of President Ruto's digital superhighway
Nightingale.
plan.
Where have I heard that Nightingale before?
This one.
Hey.
These companies.
Nightingale.
This
What are
lady,
you, Nightingale?
This lady and her 2 daughters were in the crosshairs of Uhuru Kenyatta's administration.
Remember?
Yes.
Yeah. Nightingale and these others were in those stories.
Yeah.
Court. Nordin Haji akasema, this was just politically motivated.
Watch our end.
David Day and Mwende Gatabaki. Gatabaki is the wife of the president's economic advisor. David Day is a director in one of the companies linked to Apero Limited, which in the Safaricom consortium is contracted to deliver a 104 billion shilling system integrating the healthcare system.
Okay.
Next photo, Moses Kuria. Invest Africa FZE, a company that won 1.2 billion shillings contract for KNTC for the supply of cooking oil and later bought a stake in battery dealer Everready, is also the beneficial owner of Smith & Gold Productions. Smith & Gold Productions, what do you think that company does? Smith & Gold Productions?
They make gold.
They make gold? What do you think?
They trade.
They trade in Smith.
They trade. I was going to say they trade in gold. I was going to say they trade in gold.
Now, this company does many things. It was contracted to build the Karatu Stadium in Gatodo South, and the construction is still ongoing.
Oh, okay.
It Smith & Gold does construction of stadia.
Okay, wait, sorry.
Yes, forget about it.
Okay, sorry.
What's in a name?
Keep it moving.
Yeah. Nelson Koech and Chepkirui Kones. Miss Kones owns Shovels and Trowels. A company called Shovels and Trowels.
Trowels or towels?
Trowels. Shovels and Trowels.
It's an equipment thing, that trowel.
Ile trowel ile ya kujenga.
Nini simiti.
Ile simiti ile kufanya
That
kulainisha.
it looks like a thing for cutting cake, but ya kuweka nini.
I think that looks like a big spoon. Big flat spoon. That's a trowel.
That's a trowel.
But the shovel, you know the shovel?
And the shovel
is for digging a grave.
So this company is called Shovels and Trowels. It's one of 2 companies contracted to repair sections of Mombasa Road and Uhuru Highway damaged during construction of the expressway. 1.1 billion shillings is what she got after President Ruto's administration cancelled a contract awarded to China Road and Bridge Corporation.
Sorry, please don't be angry.
Chepkirui Kones is the wife of Belgut MP Nelson Koech.
Which Mombasa Road? So I'm just wondering.
1.1 billion shilling contract.
They did it.
To do the road,
They fixed it.
They are fixing it.
Today, recently, or
they were given
tomorrow.
the contract last year.
Okay.
Medekarin Tuli, Marianne Kaitani, and Collins Ngetich. Collins Ngetich and his MEMS Distributors Limited got a contract from the NCPB to supply fertilizer worth 2.4 billion shillings. Some of the consignment was substandard. Ngetich is a brother of Aldai MP Marianne Kitani, who disowned him during a parliamentary investigation, and also a close associate of the then Agriculture CS Medekarin Turi.
You know what? When we were growing up, we used to use humor as a route to escapism. I think in some cases you can only just laugh at some of these things because ukiweka hizi vitu kwa roho. My God.
Msikia 2 billion tungapi hapo? 2 billion tu tunaenda.
2 billion.
Hebu fungua calculator, let's just calculate
Why
this
not?
one. Let's start.
Chaturator.
Okay. Weka calculator.
Nimeweka.
So Ruto's Western Hotel 57.9 million shillings.
You know I can't be putting those zeros, so let me just put 57.9 because the calculator will refuse.
Put 0.59 because next I'm coming to billions. Okay. Just put 0.59. Okay. Haya, tuende kwa hii Silas Kibet Kimato ambaye ni tunajua ni 104 billion ile ya kina Adani convergence and payroll and whatever. 104 billion. Tuende kwa hizi za Mary Waboi 6.85 billion. Tuende kwa hii Invest Africa ambayo ileta mafuta 1.2 billion. Tuende kwa hii Shovels and Travels 1.1 billion. Tuende kwa hii MEMS Distributors 2.4 billion. Sasa hiyo vitu ngapi?
116.14 billion so far.
Okay. Hatujaweka pesa ya kujenga stadium ile ya Golden Smith Production.
Smith and Gold.
Hatuweki hiyo. Pia hatuweki ile ya Nightingale ya kujenga kuchimba chini kuweka fiber. Hatujui ni ngapi. You know? So let's just operate on
this money has been spent and these things have not been done. How's that for crying shame this morning?
The contracts have been awarded. Whether they've even been fully paid, we don't know.
Oh, for crying out loud. Have you been on Mombasa Road recently?
Whether they've been fully paid, we don't know.
Oh, okay.
Whether the projects have been completed, we don't know.
Oh, we don't know. Or if they've even started.
Yes, the one we know, the Gatundu Stadium we know was started.
Completed, not yet.
Okay.
But we know mafuta ililetwa.
We know.
Mafuta ya kukula, ya kupika. Ililetwa. Mafuta ya salad. Ililetwa. Mchele, na sijui nini hizi makampuni zililetwa. Barabara ya Mombasa Road imechimbwa.
It wasn't like that before.
Okay, so they say, what you're trying to say now is that they started doing something on it?
Yes, we're not saying when they started doing it. We're just saying something has... Yes. And recently also they started digging a bit more.
They've been digging that road, my friend.
Yes, and in case you're doubting, there's some earth mover that is parked somewhere near the gate.
That one I saw.
That one you know about.
I was hoping that when I came back, maybe, you know...
It moves. It moves, by the way, from time to time.
It moves from this side to
the highway. Tell us about traffic.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Taking a quick look at what's happening as you get into the city this morning on Langata Road. Not too bad. As you get round the interchange and then getting onto Langata Road, I think we're all right. Thika Superhighway, quite some traffic as you get past Survey, and even before that, coming in from Clayworks through towards Garden City and then out towards the city centre itself. We're not going to have an issue here. Juja Road is busy this morning as you get out then towards Ring Road, Ngara, and then to Pangani on the other side. If you're on Mombasa Road, you're not going to have an issue, at least not for now. As you get through towards Capital Centre, it's going to slow down a little bit through towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. And then coming off of Jogo Road, we already started to see traffic start to build as you get towards Landis and then out towards Kamkunji. It doesn't look too bad on Gong Road. Looks like it'll continue moving for now. We'll get into traffic hour and see what happens as we get into it proper. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X, #The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Read the story.
ODM leaders reject term limit proposal and they vow to oppose the bill.
Okay.
A showdown is looming in Parliament over Orange Democratic Movement party leaders. They vowed to shoot down the controversial Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill number 2, 2024, terming it an insult to Kenyans. Party Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, Deputy Party Leader Godfrey Osotsi, and Kakamega Governor, who is also County ODM Chairman Fernandez Barasa, have vowed to defeat the proposed law when time for debating it comes. Now, the bill by Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei proposes to increase the term service for the president, senators, members of parliament, governors and members of county assembly from the current 5 years to 7. The leaders speaking in two different functions in Vihiga during the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers Vihiga Branch Annual General Meeting, good grief, that's a mouthful, held at Majengo and in Butere, said ODM will oppose the bill. Senator Sifuna announced plans to marshal the party's members both in the National Assembly and the Senate to take the bill down.
Okay.
He said, in every market there is always a madman. and so in Parliament. We also have some. You can't wake up and state that you want to increase the term limits. Term limits were chilling. And then you woke up and said, add us. He added, as the Secretary General of the ODM party, I know we are satisfied with the constitutional given 5-year term, and as leaders we should embrace it. After it, the 5 years, we go back to the electorates to give us another chance or not. Senator Osotsi on his side said the bill stands no chance to be passed by the majority as it will lack support. He added that the current 5-year term provides sufficient time for office holders to implement their policies. Yani 5 years is enough. If you can't do it in 5 years, come and go and sit down. We're not ready for drama. 5 years is enough for leaders to perform their duties. He acknowledged that the 2010 Constitution has been effective for almost 14 years and any changes to the same would be people-oriented. ODM chairperson for Kakamega County said, I know Cherargei is just testing the waters. As ODM chairperson for Kakamega County, I strongly oppose that proposal. Cooperatives Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya also opposed the bill, saying it would cause unrest and destabilize peace in the country.
How?
Well, coming from the premise that there is believed to be relative peace.
People will be unhappy.
People will be unhappy. Say, come on, you guys.
Come on, say, come on.
5 years, now you want to add it to 10 years. You want to increase our misery. Rather, extend our misery. So, basically they're saying no, and they're saying that when this thing comes to the floor of the House for debate, they have already opposed it strongly, but now they're going to oppose it vehemently, and it will not pass, because you cannot do this to Kenyans. If in 5 years you've not been able to do what the Constitution has mandated you to do, 2 years is not going to... If anything, these 2 years that you're trying to add for yourself is for your own self-expediency and for nothing else. So do it for Kenyans. If 5 years you've not been able to and you want another chance, go back to the ballot and tell Kenyans to give you another opportunity. If not, sit down.
So I take it that the debate on this matter has begun.
Yeah.
Outside Parliament, for sure.
Public participation already. Senate is conducting that. The thing about it is, this is Oparanya, who is a former deputy leader of ODM. This is the new deputy leader of ODM, Osotsi. This is, and he's a senator. This is the Secretary General of ODM, Sifuna.
And he's a senator.
And they're coming out to say like this.
They're coming out to say like this.
They are speaking a bit too early, if you ask me. They're speaking a bit too early. Remember, Sifuna has many times told us things about ODM and joining government. And we have seen how that has gone. They are speaking a bit too early. There are two things that I see here. One, this is not just a trial with this bill.
No.
There's something afoot. And we do not know what the former party leader of ODM, because he has handed over the reins to Anyang' Nyong'o, what he feels and what he thinks. If he thinks that it could, be one of those things that he would work for him, if he says yes, what will Kina Osotsi say?
Where?
What will they say? Number two, is ODM opposing this because it's coming out, from other quarters, or is ODM opposing this on principle?
What principle?
On the principle that, no, we do not need a constitutional amendment so that we can do this. Or is it the same way that, for example, Baba opposed the Punguza Mizigo referendum push by Kuru Okoh to buy time for the BBI referendum push?
Or we had the Sufuria protest occasion that has now led to handshake.
one would really hope that it is not a situation where somebody is opposing it because it sounds like the right thing to say.
It's what they're setting in motion. I think Eric has a point here.
Yeah.
What exactly are we hearing?
Because if somewhere down the line somebody should just switch things up just a tad and say, okay, you know what, guys, this kind of makes sense. Will the same people who are opposing it today then line up and form the parade behind those who say it's actually a good idea and say, actually, you know what, in retrospect, I think that this is not such a bad idea. Same people who are telling you now vehemently, absolutely no. It hasn't taken much more. It hasn't taken much more to change anybody's mind, has it?
No,
in the
it
past?
hasn't.
No.
But what it has done, it has alerted us to something that is afoot. This is too much noise over this thing.
A lot of noise.
Yep.
Yes.
Connect several dots. Dot number 1. Sometime in December 2022, President William Ruto writes to the speakers of Parliament with several proposals. One of them is, let's allow ministers to come to Parliament. Another one, let's create a position and call it official opposition leader who will be, picked by Parliament, and so on and so forth. Okay? Connect another dot. This one, a constitutional amendment. You see, even that on creation of all those things requires a constitutional amendment if you have to create an official opposition leader to be picked from Parliament, blah, 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 blah. All right? This one is another proposal for constitutional amendment. Some of the things that were contained in the Bomber's handshake thing, what's called NADCO report, required some constitutional amendments. Now that's why they're arguing, no, this one would have required constitutional, this one would not require constitutional. Then consider the call by President William Ruto and even Raila Odinga, let's have a national dialogue that looks at what is ailing our country and see where to go. All right? Ingredients are being put together to say, can we look at this constitution and see how we can work? So people are putting their proposals out there for what they'd like the constitution to do. One of those is, do we need to have 5-year terms, or can we make it 7-year term? And so on and so forth. Yep.
By the time you start to get a whiff of something smelling delicious coming out, guess what? The cake in the oven is already done. Because you do not smell the cake. You don't smell that aroma while it's just cooking and bubbling there. You smell that aroma when you can actually bring it out of the oven.
And it's fully baked.
It has fully baked. So these things that you're hearing, my friend, is something that has been done. It's been dusted. It's been decided.
So the waters have been tested.
They just want to. It's like when you're putting your foot to say, okay, is it warm enough? What do people say? How fast will it burn me? Or can we just now keep putting the foot in and then it just becomes comfortable for everybody? Because look, you have a CS today who is telling you that Adani is Angel Gabriel's twin brother. Just a few months ago was telling you that it was the spawn of Satan. So decide.
Hey. It is cooking. It is cooking nicely. So, the issue of Moi University, right? It is in chaos, after one chaos to the second chaos. Moi University is expected to reopen on the 4th of November after the National Treasury committed to release 2.9 billion shillings towards the troubled institution's financial and operational needs. The university will reopen following Parliament and Higher Education State Department's intervention. At the same time, the National Assembly's Committee on Education announced completion of critical actions to allow the university restore learning. The committee's chairman, Julius Meli, outlined key funding measures aimed at addressing the institution's financial and operational challenges. He said, the Treasury has allocated 609 million shillings to the university this month to support scholarships, tuition and ongoing needs. 300 million will go towards scholarship this October, in addition to 217 million disbursed in August. Another 219 million will cover tuition, adding to the 127 million allocated earlier. The money is expected to address the institution's immediate financial obligations, including payment of 807 million in outstanding staff salaries for this and last month. All these things are happening while the university is actually shut. This is Moi University.
Yep.
Shut. The Treasury is pledging to send some 2.9 billion shillings before the 4th of November so that it can reopen. Then you also remember what there's a clip that was going round of a contribution by the Uasin Gishu senator in Parliament, Mandagor. Mandagor was saying in Parliament, the problems at Moi University are we lump too many things together. Moi University was like the parent university for several colleges that turned out to become independent autonomous universities.
Yes.
6 of them. Moi University, for example, bought a piece of land in Karatina to set up a college. That college later got its own charter. It's now an independent university. The money used to purchase that and to build that university is in the books of Moi University, and so on and so forth. So that also needs to be considered. Okay. The question, though, is why isn't it being considered? If indeed that's the issue. If it's one of the problems that Moi University is facing, is that it's holding debt on behalf of another university, can that not be discussed? But also, beyond that, what else is ailing Moi?
Absolutely. And has that been taken care of? Has it been taken care of? You cannot, if there's rot that has not been cleaned out and sorted, even if you pump money into it, are you going to solve the problem? Or 2-3 years down the line,
it'll go the same direction the other monies went.
Exactly. Exactly. Pumping money in is not the solution to this thing, if you ask me. What is the problem? Is it administrative? Is it management? What is it? Has it been handled? If it's not been handled, you should not be surprised if 2 years down the line you are told again, Wahala don't bust.
Yeah. If it goes beyond just management, if it's about balance sheet issues, then discuss the balance sheet issues. Because there's So Kepsea is starting today.
Yes, it is.
And grade 6s are doing the exam.
3 days of exam. It's remember with CBC, you have an assessment here at grade 3, grade 6, grade 9, and then of course the final one at grade 12, or how it will eventually come out. And so this is the one that takes I think this is the largest. It is the largest percentage. Before then going to grade 9. So it takes, I think it's 40% of your overall from this particular exam. And remember that then from there they go to grade 7, of course, which has had its own issues. More importantly, remember that we're going to have a first grade 9s in January next year, and we've already started complaining about how facilities don't exist. I don't know teachers, I don't know do what. There's just drama everywhere. And remember, also it's supposed to be going into pathways, yet to happen. In this story, it's looking at those exams taking place for the next 3 days, but also the question about what parents will do with their children over the holiday. What was expected? So they stay at home. Abi, how? What's wrong? It's too long. You have to feed them and entertain them, make them revise.
Yeah. And you're away for that long.
Away from right.
You're away from the house.
Yeah.
And they're just in the house.
They're just at home.
So what are they
doing? To keep them occupied.
Yeah. For 2 months. Let the children play.
Let them play, I beg. Leave them alone. They'll be fine.
Let the children play. Is that? There's a song.
Let the children play.
Yeah.
That's Lionel Richie, I think. Yeah. Love, oh love, what a blessed thing. Oh yeah.
These holidays, is this something that happens suddenly?
No, it happens every year. Would you believe it?
But it's very sudden.
There is this holiday every year, but
November
now
just comes suddenly out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, it's November.
News time.
This is the news. Why I'm Leah Ubanga. The government will prosecute exam cheats through special courts that have been constituted. Education CS Julius Ogamba says the courts will arbitrate the cases of exam malpractices. The CS, who spoke hours before the official kickoff of the written Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education and Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, says the government has already mapped out exam irregularities hotspots with a view of applying deterrent measures.
We are going even further to request or to have a special court sittings or special court system to ensure that where somebody is caught with an offense, the process is that much faster, and therefore the punishment will come that much faster. And we have special systems that are in place, including special security features on the papers, and everything has been put in place, including we'll be doing a lot of triangulation of even communication.
And Education Principal Secretary Dr. Belia Kipsang has assured that all preparations and plans for the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education and Kenya Primary School Education Assessment examinations scheduled to start today are in place. The PS said the KCSE and KPSEA candidates have been adequately prepared and given a conducive environment by their teachers in readiness for the national exams. He also stated that no armed security guards would be present to protect KPSEA candidates during the examination period from today to Wednesday to give the students as relaxed environment as possible.
But for these young ones, because anyway they have earned 60%, and that 60% was supervised by our teachers, we want to leave it to our teachers to supervise our young children and make our children as relaxed as they can be.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Alfred Mutua says successful candidates in the ongoing recruitment of Kenyan workers for semi-skilled and menial jobs by an unnamed Qatari company will have their airfare catered for. Mutua also said that the Qatari company will cater for the big costs of Kenyan workers' relocation process such as air tickets and accommodation. The interviews, which began on Friday, will end today are being conducted in Nairobi by officials from the Middle Eastern company seeking workers across hospitality and service, construction and technical industries.
In terms of the job contract, and I looked at it, is that you are paid a certain salary. For example, the lowest salary is about 1,000 riyals. You know, it's for the cleaners and others. That's about 37 to 40,000 Kenyan shillings. That's the lowest salary. But this is tax-free. You're not taxed. And on top of that, you're given accommodation and you're given transport to work and food while you're at work. And that's why the Middle East is very lucrative. So you don't have to go out of your pocket to pay for accommodation or some of those things, or even transport to work. And in addition to that, you're given full medical cover so that in case you're sick, you're treated. You're also given holiday breaks so that you can actually get a ticket to come home, I think after 1 or 2 years, to be able to come home and see your relatives. And if you need to come home for anything, you come home anytime. So these are normal working parameters that are keeping to International Labour Organization standards.
Mutua further said that the government was dealing with cases of 5,000 Kenyans who'd been conned and promised jobs abroad.
The problem we've had in this country when it comes to job migration has been in corruption. People have been conned. People have killed themselves because they have paid thousands of shillings and agents have eaten their money. It's a very, very, very bad thing. Currently, as we speak, we've got 5,000 Kenyans stuck in Qatar, living as refugees, who were taken there during the World Cup period. Some of them promised jobs that never actually realized themselves. And because they have paid 200, 250,000, they refuse to come back home. They are staying there until they get a job from somebody. So that's one of the issues that I'm dealing with. 5,000 Kenyans who are being fed by the International Organization for Migration every day. And it's because of these rogue agents in our country that are doing these things.
And finally, now Kenya leader Martha Karua now claims that there is a special abduction squad that is operating with the blessing of the government to suppress freedom of expression and human rights. Karua says the squad operates under instructions to silence individuals who often criticize President William Ruto's Kenya Kwanza administration.
We have credible sources who have indicated that there is a special abduction stroke killer squad, which is comprised of both police and army officers. And this squad, we are told reliably, is based somewhere in Karen, near the DP's residence, and another wing of it is based in Orepolos in Kajiado. They are also joined by foreigners from Burundi, from DRC, and from Uganda, and God knows where else.
That's the news wire. I'm Leah Obaka.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
It's busy on Kiambu Road and we're looking at in and outbound traffic, but usually it's inbound with forming many more lanes than is allowed. On the Thika Superhighway, it's also very busy as well. Traffic is coming in all the way from Kasarani out towards Pangani, all the way through and through. It's been busy on Juja Road this morning, starting very early. Ring Road Western's also looking very busy as well. Inbound traffic on Landis Road is quite the thing already, in before traffic hour. And on Ngong Road, traffic coming into the city will take us through towards Haile Selassie. And traffic then also coming in on Langata Road is busy. Uhuru Gardens getting out towards just past Carnival and out towards Mahi Road and Langata Road itself towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout, also very busy this morning. So we're getting into that before traffic hour starts. Let's see what Monday morning has in store. Do talk to us about what's going on in your neck of the woods. We'll talk SpiceFM. KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 after 7, how are you doing? Welcome to the second hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is The Situation Room on SpiceFM, on KTN, on YouTube and Facebook, and X and TikTok and Radio Garden, everywhere. She's back. She is the queen. No, she has a big name. Izaize. Izaize. What does it mean? Adaize. What does it mean, Adaize?
It just is an older daughter. I don't remember I told you is an elder daughter.
Mm-hmm.
The first daughter. Eze is king.
So the elder daughter of a king.
No, the elder daughter in royalty, essentially, is what it is.
Right.
So there is no feminine name for that,
isn't it? Yeah, Eze is king. There is no.
At least wazungu walipata queen.
Queen. There's no queen. Even when you say the queen mother is Neze, it's queen mother is Neze, mother to the king.
To the
mother
king.
To the king.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Adaize, that is who you are. Yes. Because you come from royalty. Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Your Royal Highness.
Thank you.
You got it right.
It is not flesh and blood that has revealed this to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's divine. You better trace your lineage.
Good point.
If someone was an elder, that's royalty itself.
That's royalty, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Mimi sina hiyo trace.
Elder of the House of Kings.
Martha Karua, good morning.
Morning.
Good to have you here.
My pleasure to be. Thanks for having me.
Asante sana.
Yes.
Several things that we want to talk about. First of all, Adaize, let me tell you. You know, while you were away, we had a conversation with Tala. Tala have been, of course you know about Tala.
Yeah.
They have been in Kenya for 10 years plus, right? 10 years. They have lent over 500 million shillings to people. You know, borrow, Rudisha, borrow, Rudisha, borrow, Rudisha. But Tala, unlike very many other of those to fly-by-night companies, are solid. And they are among those who came together initially and said, we'd like these mobile lending companies to be regulated by the central bank. We have a data protection commissioner's office. Those companies ought also to get a license from the data protection, right? So when your data is with Tala, it is regulated by who? The data commissioner. When you are dealing with Tala, you have downloaded it on your mobile phone and you're borrowing, and Central Bank of Kenya is aware. Okay? Okay. Now, Tala says, come download on Google Play, and you will need money at some point. Just borrow You decide when you want to pay. You tell us you want to pay in 20 days. Fine, pay in 20 days. You pay, and like that. And your information is safe.
Secure. Oh, fantastic.
Senor? Yeah. Royalty doesn't want the information all over the place. People they are dying, they has you taken up. No. Right? City, please welcome Martha with the day's proverb. But before you do that, right? You people in that age, and it's important that you keep reminding each other the importance of health and just waking up and feeling healthy, and also just knowing your health status. Abutella.
Well, the Aga Khan University Hospital understands what it is that you're alluding to well. And it is for that reason that they tell you they have brought healthcare literally next to you. There are 53 outlets, 53 specialty clinics. They're actually hospitals. And in any of these facilities, you can actually access not just healthcare, but you can access a health checkup. These stories you hear of someone collapsed and they went to the ICU, that one. The ailment didn't land on the day you collapsed. It's been there for a while, brewing. It's just bubbled over. Now, the process of a health checkup determines and tells you clearly what it is that may be ailing you. If there's nothing, it will tell you there's nothing. If there's something, it will tell you there's something. Now, this way a stitch in time saves 9. You'll have an opportunity to do something about it. So all these emergency calls and all the drama that follows these sudden illnesses will likely be put to rest. You'll be able to plan and know what to do. That's what a health checkup does for you. And the Kenya University Hospital is saying, look for 9,950 Kenyan shillings and we'll be able to afford you this. What I'm certain about, it'll cost you much, much more if you do not know what your health status is and if you suddenly fall ill and has been taken to hospital. Yes.
Senor, Martha, that's good even for just family. You're a mother, you're a grandmother, you just want your family healthy.
I believe in regular checkups.
Very good.
Yeah.
The Proverb City, we've been in the Maghreb in the last 4. This is the 4th.
This is the 4th and final country of the Maghreb that we are going to mine proverbs from. And we're in the state of Libya. This country is historically rich. Okay? It's gone through the steps that very many of these countries have gone through. It was even a kingdom once.
Well?
Yeah, but that one came to an abrupt end when a gentleman called Muammar Gaddafi enacted a coup. Yes, that's a story for another day. Other proverb. He whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself at the fire.
What's the interpretation of this?
I think it's an equivalent of those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And I can see a certain leader, and I'll not go beyond that, whose trousers are made of dry, did you say dry grass?
I did.
And has been warming himself near the fire in our national politics. I go no further.
Kitamramba. Martha, yesterday you, activist Khalif Khalifa, Muhisa Kitui, CJ Emeritus, Dr. Mutunga, Professor Mutunga, and Kabando addressed a media conference with a long statement. And the thrust of it was basically just saying that things are not going right. What is this?
It looks like Dr. Ruto has suspended the constitution without saying so. We cannot be having abductions by state agencies or by police officers or security officers not in uniform, who refuse to identify themselves, who refuse to say for what offense they are picking somebody, and who do not disclose where they are taking someone. I believe yesterday it is the fact that the social media went viral. That's the only reason they took Boni to Kamukunji. Otherwise, if they were taking him to a police station, why was it so difficult to say so at the point they picked him? Why was it difficult to say we are police officers, we are here for this and that offense? I believe if it were not for social media and for Kenyans and for the media generally, Bob Jagi and the Aslam brothers would not have been released, and we do not know what would have become of them. I know there are many other people being picked who do not have networks that can cry out for them, and some never return. We now know of the Pegulia gentleman whom they abducted. 1 week, he surfaced dead. We know of Gen Zs like Denzel Omondi, who was picked during the Gen Z protests and surfaced in a quarry dead. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights listed over 60 people, if you like, missing. We do not know whether they have updated their list and who else is missing. It could be in the hundreds. What have we become? A country that abducts, tortures and kills its own, a country that is having detention camps. And this is not in dispute. Remember, the Bob Jagi and the Aslam brothers clearly said where they were, there were many others. To date, police have never owned up that they're the ones who held them. And we know they are the ones. Look, the morning Masengeri is going to court under threat of being jailed because he's showing up, because there's a warrant to detain him, is the day they are released clandestinely. What government operates like that? If you cannot guarantee or rather respect people's right to life and guarantee their liberty other than, if you're picked within the law, then you do not deserve to be in power. This is a regime Kenyans must get ready to throw out. Yeah, and that can even be before 2027. I keep saying, being in leadership or being elected is not a title deed. You cannot wave it at us, do everything, including commit murder, to remain in power. You can be fired any day. And William Ruto and his regime were fired in June. So they know they're using force and illegal means to remain in power.
Looking at it from a justice and constitutional point of view, it's good that you're here because you obviously occupied that position in the previous governmental administration. What is the rationale behind having somebody as a guest of the state, as it were, to ask them a few questions about their activities? What's the rationale behind that?
If indeed one has committed an offense, there is a legal framework within which one can be picked and questioned. But if you're being picked clandestinely, clearly it's not because you have committed an offense. It's because you are a thorn in the flesh of the administration, because you're seeking accountability. And therefore, what the illegalities mean is that the Ruto regime has a campaign of instilling fear and intimidating Kenyans and obliterating any contrary opinion.
Is it possible?
Look, for instance, at Boniface Mwangi. What had he called for? He had asked people to occupy the Stanchart Marathon, not to do anything bad to it, but to go in national flags. When did it become an offense to don yourself in a national flag? So what incitement to do what? To do something positive? When we call for people to plant trees, is that incitement? If you're asking people to cause violence, that's different.
Yeah.
But if you're saying occupy with a national flag, what offense is that?
Is it possible that the executive then is unaware that individuals or trios or couples of people are being picked up and they do not know? Is it possible?
I believe they are not only aware, but I believe also this is sanctioned by William Ruto himself. This has now become their signature way of operating. It is not once, it is not random, and it is tens of people who have been abducted, maybe hundreds. If you are in power and you suggest that those things are happening without you knowing, then obviously you are in slumber. You ought not to be there. But there is no way this can be happening without them.
The push for a new constitution was for, among other things, to make sure that there's no return of such. Right? People being abducted, people being picked up, people being held incommunicado. You know, there are laws that say that you must be presented in court within, right, 24 hours.
24 hours,
and police have got to come and justify and even request the courts if they want to hold you a bit longer. You've got to be charged. The whole journey towards bringing a new constitution was trying to make sure that such things never occur again.
Indeed.
It's only 14 years in a new constitution. This is happening now in this administration. In the previous administration, there were still other complaints. People, bodies turning up in Lydiah and elsewhere. People who just disappeared and they have not been seen again. Are we saying that our constitution actually created and left loopholes? Because there's been no constitutional accountability to the administration of Uhuru Kenyatta and the administration of William Ruto over the disappearance of people and the turning up of people dead, whether in Shakahola or in Lydiah or elsewhere.
I want to agree that this has been happening even during the previous administration. In the Kibaki administration, and that was before we passed the 2010 constitution, you remember there were extrajudicial killings of people, in quotes, seen as Mungiki. That was totally wrong. And I remember raising the issue within, and eventually it's one of the issues. Human rights is one of the issues that caused my resignation. Human rights, corruption, and issues related to the administration of justice. In the Uhuru Ruto, again, administration, because Ruto was a core part of that administration, bodies surfacing in Yala, and people being abducted. Although not as widespread as now during the Ruto regime, but the bodies in Yala were quite a number. You remember Willie Kimani? You remember all those things. Now it is happening, and since the Gen Z riots with abandon, Ruto had said when campaigning that extrajudicial killings will be a thing of the past. In my heart, I was skeptic of those statements because the way I know him, I know he's a person who does not respect the rights of others. You cannot condone or be part of corruption and at the same time say you respect the rights of others because corruption does affect the rights of others. So I suspected this would happen. It has happened. He is mum. He doesn't say anything. You remember the court trying to press the police to produce Bob Jaggi and the Langton brothers, and them completely refusing. If you are the one in charge, even the Attorney General was silent, only surfaces in court to try and plead for Masengeli.
Now that's why I'm asking, Martha.
So they owned the impunity. They have openly owned the impunity. What... Can you imagine Kanja, the top police officer, the IG, pretending that he doesn't know what is happening? Then that is all the more reason then why he shouldn't be there at all.
Which is why, Martha, I'm falling back to the Constitution. Because we gave ourselves a Constitution that will safeguard us. Are we saying that there are no constitutional safeguards?
The Constitution
we created institutions. We created a National Police Service and said there shall be a policing oversight authority. There shall be a National Commission on Human Rights. With all these institutions and a constitution that is so robust on the Bill of Rights, that is, acclaimed world over on the Bill of Rights, are we saying that all those safeguards are actually not working?
May I thank you for this question because it helps us to unpackage what is happening. The Constitution has no fault on those areas. In fact, it entrenches the Bill of Rights and sets out the parameters in a very elaborate manner, and also says which rights are non-derogable. But a constitution is as good as the people who implement it. Our institutions are as good as people who sit in them. I was avoiding to say who man them. I was going to say who woman them. But who sit in them. Look at the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. It is doing better than it has done before. It has a list of those who died. It has a list of those who disappeared. It is helping where necessary, but I want to call upon them to step up. Their work is not to massage the government. They are a constitutional commission appointed courtesy of the people of Kenya. They should be calling out the government more. They should have a more and firmer statement on the state of human rights, on the need to forthwith stop the abductions. They should call out the police service. They should call out Dr. William Ruto and his rogue government. They should call out all the institutions. They are doing that, but not enough. Look at our judiciary. The High Court, some courts are doing very well. A bit of the Court of Appeal, I will not go beyond that. They are doing very well in calling out the government, but they could do more. And I like to remind them, they are not appointed by William Ruto and his rogue regime. They are appointed by the people of Kenya. They should look at Article 159, which sets up the courts for onwards. And they should realize that whatever they do in the name of the people of Kenya who have donated power, judicial power to them, it must be done for the best interests of the people. If it is Adani, they should ask themselves, if the people of Kenya are opposed, is the decision we are making for the people of Kenya? If it is in the matter of human rights, and I want to commend the courts that have shown courage and spine in standing up for the people. You remember recently when they charged Morara, the court threw out the charges because they were fictitious. We commend the judiciary and we want to see more of that. We want to see them come out firm because they are the guardians of the Constitution. The Constitution is not at fault, but we Kenyans, we professionals, whether you are a police officer, whether you are in an office like IPOA, whatever office you hold, are you defending and upholding the Constitution of Kenya? If we answer that positively, then we'll have a better nation. And if you are a citizen, you too have a duty to uphold and defend the Constitution. We must say no to William Ruto and his rogue regime. We shall not be abducted again. We are not going to accept the violation of our rights, including trivializing the right to life.
So when these things happen, when masked, hooded people go and pick up people, take them and hold them in communicado for days, and people don't know what has happened. When you have an MCA who's missing for so many months, when you have so many other names that are just of people who have disappeared, families that are looking for their loved ones, and the institutions are not doing much to bring those people back home. So what does that mean? What should we do? What safeguards? I'm asking about the safeguards because you're saying that this is the executive that is involved in this. So the executive, if the executive is at fault, we had other institutions that should be making sure that they check the executive. The legislature should. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights should. The judiciary should. The other institutions should. If all of these appear to be singing in concert on one side, and our brothers and sisters and cousins and nephews and nieces are turning up dead or just disappearing, so what do we do?
Thank you. You've mentioned the legislature. We lost Parliament. We lost the National Assembly. We've lost the Senate. They like to call them the upper house, but they did not show any traits of an upper house when we last saw them debating the impeachment. And this is not about Gachagua. I couldn't care less whether he is in or out. But I care about justice to everyone. including him. If you can hold a shambolic show and attend almost 100%, and when it is issues affecting Kenyans, including issues about the right to life, liberty, issues that affect Kenyans, bread and butter issues and economic issues, we see parliament not well attended, we see quorum hitches. Those are people who don't appear to know, except a very few of them. They don't appear to know at all why they're there. They think we elect them to fatten themselves and to go and expand their businesses. They do not realize that we have elected them to be our watchdogs. And I think that's why Kenyans, I do believe, actually sacked the entire lot. Yeah. The entire lot was thrown out by people. And remember, in Kenya, we have people hold sovereignty. Our previous constitution, Parliament was supreme, and everything was about the presidency, because we adopted the English system where everything is about the sovereign, who is the king or queen. In Kenya now, this constitution removed that system. The people are your employer. And I know that William Ruto has not in his mind internalized the constitution. I heard him, after the Gen Z riots, say, enough is enough. Who is he to tell his employers, the Kenyan people, enough is enough? It is only your employer who can tell you, enough is enough, pack and go. So in his head, he is a king. But I want to remind him today that he is a mere employee of the sovereign people of Kenya. And these people have no faith in him. If he respects himself and respects the people, he should exit. If you cannot further the interests of the people, then you should leave. Look at him even defending Adani. Adani didn't elect him. It is the people of Kenya. Unless if Adani is his mask, and is the one behind all this haste at the airport at Ketraco. And by the way, the Ketraco deal is exaggerated. It's a rip-off. If you check similar deals before with the same agency. So he is defending them because he has an interest in them. That is what I deduce. Otherwise, he would be defending his employer, the people of Kenya.
Okay. Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 8. Senior Counsel Martha Karua is our guest today. She's the party leader of NARC Kenya. We are here discussing. Okay, so we said Martha Karua is coming here to say shape up or ship out. And we're asking ourselves, who is she asking to shape up or ship out? I think we have now heard.
We got it.
we got it. Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back shortly. Safaricom all-in-one package. You know about that, Ndu? Yeah. I will tell us about it.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So you can imagine a situation whereby you don't have to worry about whether airtime is going to run out, whether you're going to get, you're going to run out of bundles, or whether you're going to send the SMS, it's going to come back to you because you didn't have any credit to send it through. Well, Safaricom takes all of this into consideration and says, look, at the beginning of a period, how about you get into one bundle where you buy a certain number of SMSs, let's say 2,000. And you have 1,000 minutes of talk time, 17 GB of data, and free WhatsApp. So you don't have to worry about whether airtime is going to run out, whether you're going to get on the internet and you're not going to find what you're looking for because you've run out of bundles. So you're going to dial *544#, get to the Go Monthly tab, and then there you will pick the data, or rather the bundle that you would like, and pay for it. And for 30 days, you don't have to worry about buying or purchasing more. It is freedom that you buy with Safaricom all in one.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your day.
Save money on your rising electricity bill with StarTime Solar Home Solution. We offer a complete home and commercial energy saving system that includes solar panels with 15-year warranty, lithium battery with 10 years warranty, and an inverter with 5 years warranty. StarTime Solar Home Solution is efficient, reliable, and safe to power essential appliances, complete home lighting, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, microwaves, iron box, instant shower, and entertainment devices appliances, television, computers, Wi-Fi, and so much more. Say yes to reduced electricity bills and call us today on 0719 077 777 and get started on your green energy journey today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Bit of a cloudy morning in Nairobi. Looking at 17 degrees, going to highs of 26 and lows of 16 through Monday. It's partly sunny at 15 in Nakuru, going to highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 27, and a partly cloudy Nyeri at 18. 15 and sunny in Eldoret with highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 31 in a mostly sunny Mombasa, beg your pardon, at 25. It's 26 and sunny in Malindi, going to highs of 31. And at 21, Kisumu is cloudy with highs of 29, 19 and cloudy in Kakamega with highs of 28. While heavy rains continue in Kampala, we'll see highs of 28 and highs of 31 in a partly sunny Dar es Salaam at 26. 11 degrees and sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 26, while Mogadishu is now turning sunny at 27 with highs of 31, and at 14 it is sunny in Addis Ababa with highs of 21. Mostly clear at 26 in Lagos with highs of 31, and at 25 it's cloudy in Kinshasa with highs of 30 and lows of 24.
Spice up your life.
All right, we're into traffic hour and stepping into it hot this morning. Quite some traffic on Landis Road. It's starting from the roundabout at City Stadium, coming off of Jogo Road, so that's busy. Getting into the city this morning. The Thika Superhighway is jumping with traffic this morning. We're coming in all the way now from Clay City out towards Pangani and Kiambu Road. One for the books this morning. In and outbound traffic is heavy. Ring Road Westlands, Ring Road Kileleshwa, this whole area coming in through towards Mzima Springs and then towards James Gishoro. Heavy going towards the Red Hill Link Road, and Waiaki Way traffic is also starting to pick up quite some. It's busy on Limuru Road. Coming in through towards Muthaiga. Like I said, we're in traffic hour this Monday morning. Let's see what happens as we get through it. We'll talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Our conversation continues for the next 22 minutes with Senior Counsel Martha Karua. City, this country, Okoh in the UK, the northern, is the United Kingdom of England, Wales,
Scotland
and
Northern Ireland.
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 Okay.
Ireland.
So the one that doesn't have the northern is called what?
Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay.
See Ireland. Pana.
Ireland.
Sio kisiwa. Yes.
Now, you can go and study in Ireland. Big top international universities. There's the official Study in Ireland fair that's going to be taking place on the 9th of November from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Gallant Mall in Nairobi. This is in Parklands. Reasons why you should study in Ireland. Number one, direct access to top universities. Number two, discover Ireland's career opportunities and get expert visa guidance. The participating universities that will be here in this fair: Griffith College, University of Galway, University of Limerick, Technological University of the Shannon, the Dublin City University, Independent College, University College Cork. All of them will be exhibiting at the Study in Ireland Fair.
And this is brought to you by?
By Cradle.
Spell it.
Do it.
What now?
Cradle.
Craydel.
Very good.
Not the cradle for baby.
It's
That's
not
what I wanted.
That's what we're thinking. Cradle. All right. So Cradle, please, you need to register for this, and how you do that is you we'll tell you. We'll give you the details of how you register for this particular fair. It's only on registration entry by invitation only, and this is on cradle.com. Hi, City. You're keeping quiet as you're listening to Martha.
Yes, because as Martha was speaking, I was doing a little historical tour.
Okay.
And I was looking at governments that over the years have mirrored exactly what we're talking about here. I'm looking at the military regimes that were in Latin America. There's one particular one that was notorious. It was Chile under Augusto Pinochet. 3,162 people disappeared. To date, as we're speaking, 1,469 have not been accounted for. And those people disappeared over a period of 17 years. Meaning, that's where the disappearance and disappearing people, that's where the term came about. People visit in the morning, done. That's it. No one ever hears of you again. Now, there's a new president called Gabriel Boric. He's trying to sort this thing out. He's got a search plan, meaning many families never actually got to actually come to that position where at least now they are at peace with either the death of their loved one or they understand. Now, what hinders this president is the history of impunity that country had. Remember, many of the people who were disappearing others in that time of history were young men. They're now old. Some are in their 70s, some are in their 80s, many have died. Now, can you imagine this? I was reading of a story of one of these individuals whose grandchild now came to realize this beloved grandfather that they have was the person who was among the people who disappeared very, very many people. An ordinary citizen, a senior citizen now in the country, but he was among them. It takes my mind back to an even more horrific era. Second World War, the Nazi regime. 6 million people. 6. Now, these things start and they're exacerbated when people keep quiet.
Thank you.
When people don't say there's something wrong going here, or you think you will be exempted. The unfortunate thing is, once this thing gathers momentum, it leaves nobody out. You will utter what you think is actually quite normal, and the next thing, so-and-so has disappeared. It acquires its own life, and it becomes normal. I remember the question I always ask, do we understand what we're setting in motion? Now you see, this thing is already in motion. There are no protests to speak of. People are being arrested. There's nothing incendiary in what is reported to have been said by Boniface Mwangi, but he's been arrested. So essentially, your arrest has nothing to do with what you've done, any law you've broken. Someone deciding that they decide that what you're doing amounts to something that is jailable, disappearable, or whatever it is.
Even as you say that, CT, I get shivers down my spine because I do, and you know, the insidiary nature of all of this is just making you realize that times in nations on this planet that is just the way things are done. That people are disappeared and nobody asks questions, you know. But then I want, from a constitutional point of view, Martha, when we think about the tenets of the Constitution and the ropes of the law that hold the country together. And I think about a young man, I mean, it's still picture emblazoned in my mind. His name is Mukuria. His mother is still looking for him to date. The last time she saw him was on the 25th of June. And his friends saw him being put into the back of a police vehicle, not a random vehicle, of a police vehicle. This was seen, there were pictures taken. Today is the 28th of October. She still does not know where her son is. And I think we need to call them by name when we can, and when we know them. If we take that and put it to the side just for a minute, coming back to what you've talked about, that it was very clear from the mouth of the president that we would no longer see things like this happen. The deputy president, whether he's the deputy president or former, like you said, we're neither here nor there, gave a personal account of what happened to him himself being taken from his home and the horrors that he felt. So now when we look at the presidency in the role as an executive, why would they say that these things would come to an end, but that we see it in higher numbers than what you've seen in the last 5 years? Why say it, but then allow it to happen as though you were unaware. Why would you do that?
Firstly, the KK administration came to power on a campaign of lies, of deceit, propagated by William Ruto and everybody behind him. That is why he can tell us, looking us straight in the eye, there will be no further abductions, and then the abductions triple. He has no regard for the people of Kenya. He believes we are fools and that we will do nothing. That is why the impunity is so much. Pushed by the Gen Z protests, he sacked cabinet. But he didn't quite sack them. He brought them back through the back door. And even those who appear new are appointees of those who left. The case of the education minister who was running mate to Machogu, the former education minister, reports that Rinturi may have nominated the man who replaced him. Things like that. So they left and they didn't live. The fact that he said he will withdraw certain aspects of the finance bill, the fact that they are back, the fact that he ran down the NHIF has brought an animal called sheaf and sha, which we do not know, and completely broken down people's health. These are people who have no regard absolutely for the people. And I'm telling Kenyans, you may sit comfortably in your house, in your business, this is coming to your door. If it's not you, it will be your loved one. We have a responsibility to stand together and say no, to reclaim our country. And to everyone, when we elect, always look for the background of the person. There was enough information to show that William Ruto and his team were not right, the right people. And I mean, check everybody, not just those who are asking for presidency. Check for your member of parliament. Never elect somebody because they are in a party. Elect them because you know about them. Your MCA. We are paying people highly, but we are getting no returns. Kenyans are on their own. It has reached the stage where we, the people, must take action. And I'm asking you, as a Kenyan, take action, even if it's just to say no. Where are our professional societies? I only see lawyers. I see a bit of doctors sometimes. Where are the architects? Where are the accountants? Where are other professionals? Where is the Attorney General of the Republic? You may have been appointed by Dr. William Ruto, but look at the Constitution. You work for the people of Kenya. Your power is donated by them. Where is the DPP? I'm mentioning Attorney General and DPP because both of them have power over the police. They could actually tell them, we will not represent you if you detain people for offenses that are available. For instance, why were they holding Bonnie yesterday? They could have bonded him and told him, meet us in court on Monday. The same thing, that's what we were asking for Morara. For the ordinary person, is it better to fill jails with the petty offenders or to take the particulars of the person and then bond them to come to court? And if they don't, through the administration, you will find them. So we will have to stand up. Those in offices, public offices with power, and those of us who are just civilians, we will have to stand together and say enough is enough. And there are many ways of doing so. We've got to put our minds together. We have to resist this regime. Kenyans have to unite to resist the oppression that is brought upon us.
Can I ask CT a question? And just when you talk about the times of Pinochet and where people would disappear, what does that do for state power? What does that do for state power? And I also think about Nigeria in times of Babangida and Abacha. And if you look at what happened with apartheid in South Africa, where two people were walking 2 by 2 and they would disappear, never to be seen again. What does that actually do for state power whereby you have that kind of hold over people?
It's corrupting. It feeds into itself. But the problem is this. You see, state power is exercised by people. And the thing that is never considered is the damage it does to the so-called perpetrators. If you look carefully at the history of these things, these perpetrators are themselves victims. Because these abductors are Kenyans. They are people who have relatives just like the rest of us. They live here. They are people who began their lives with hopes and dreams, but this is now what they are doing. Believe me, it cannot unaffect you. It will. Let me answer the question in a different way. When you look at some of the things that are listed as the tenets that would need to be attained for someone to be impeached, whether it's a deputy president or the president, there's the word gross. Gross misconduct, gross violation, gross. Okay? Now, that's where you get to when this is what you do. You see, we may not even see it, but when you accommodate the things we've accommodated, when we welcomed our thieves, when we welcomed our people who we know to involve themselves in misdeeds, we've just desensitized ourselves more and more and more to the point where the 100 bob to the policeman is no longer an issue. It is an issue. It'll get to 1,000. Somebody's abducted. Oh, so-and-so is abducted. Okay. It's not okay. But we've gotten to a point, we are desensitized. So these things that actually you ought to shiver and shake and quake when you hear, we're saying, oh, now you ask the question, that is what happens to you. And the perpetrators are also emboldened because they keep getting away with it. So they think. You never actually do, but so they think. How do you become a country where there are international laws and then suddenly you hear nationals of another country have actually been abducted, because that's what it was, and they've been taken back to... All I'm saying is, this scenario that we are talking about, it's not something that's happening, it's not a one-off. No. It's become normal now. Now, that's the danger. It becomes normal.
Well, that's my worry. You know, when you say it's becoming normal, and it's becoming normal so fast and so soon within the life of a very robust constitution.
Yes.
In which, citizens participated in writing. Unlike the Lancaster one, where some guys went to the UK and they came back with a document. This one, people over a generation actually wrote their constitution.
They did.
Over years. Are we saying that we didn't internalize our constitution, Martha? Are we saying that, if these things can happen so quickly, that a woman, a neighbor, can lose her child, a child disappears, and the neighborhood just... My God, we go there, we visit her for 2 days. After that, we just get used to it. And then we start telling each other, mkionekana mkienda pale, you never know you're the one who could be picked next. And we just go back quietly. If 60 people can just suddenly disappear within a month.
Yeah.
If 400 people can disappear and go and they end up in some farm in Shakahola. If all these things, if people can actually disappear and bodies turn up in Rivayala.
Or in a quarry somewhere.
It's an issue for a day or 2. Week is long. Then after that, it's forgotten. It's become normal now.
Is it that we didn't understand our constitution?
I think we do, but we have become careless with to whom we award responsibility. Instead of awarding our best, we award our worst. Because we really must go back to the drawing board. You want change, then you got to be part of that change. Part of that change is electing all the 6 representatives with a lot of, intentionally, because these are people who will push your agenda forward. It's also standing up to say no. What if on the 25th of June, when our youth were murdered, even if the fence of Parliament fell and people entered Parliament, it's their building. And I believe those who destroyed were not the protesters. These were thugs hired by either the regime or people connected with the regime to justify killing which was a method chosen of stopping the protest. The fact that snipers were already on the roofs when people entered Parliament means there was preparation. And it may be very well that that wall that gave in was hit by that police lorry we saw next. So they breached Parliament themselves to trap the people in. People, yes, wanted to occupy Parliament, but they trapped them so that they are able to shoot, kill, and instill fear so that there are no more demonstrations. We've got to look these people in the eye and tell them no. I am glad that a section of religious leaders are coming back. I'm saying coming back because except for lone voices, the religious leaders had taken leave of being the moral guardians of society. They're slowly coming back. And it is a positive thing. I'm asking you as a Kenyan, slowly come back if you had taken leave, of being an engaged and active citizen. Let us all slowly converge and do something for ourselves, because this is our country. You may think that you can run and go to another country, but will you run with all your relatives? Your soul is here because you are connected to this place. We all need to do something about what is happening. We need to tell William Ruto and his people the state belongs to us. Everything done must be done in our best interest, and we must ask them to go. And that is what happens in democratic countries, that if people reject leaders overwhelmingly, they leave. And William Ruto knows he was rejected because what gauge did he use to know that he needed to do a kifumba macho by sending his cabinet home and then bringing it back, just in the same form? That kifumba macho he did because he could see the tide was against him. So he knows that he was rejected. And instead of improving, he has actually worsened. Are we going to accept the destruction of our nation? I have pledged to myself that I will stand up. And I'm calling upon everybody to stand up. We stand up, we be each other's keeper. We defend each other, we defend our constitution, we defend our country. And we make sure that only those who are responsible enough to do the bidding of their employer, who is the people of Kenya, ever get near to the offices of power and decision making.
What can people like you, Professor Willy Mutunga, who was among the founders of the Kenya Human Rights Commission, pushed for human rights in this country, for the entrenchment of the Bill of Rights in our constitution. You people who understand this constitution so well, you wrote it. How can you lead us into safeguarding and protecting the constitution?
Raising the voice and calling upon the people and coming together as Kenyans united to resist oppression, we gave that statement yesterday. That should encourage all those who are feeling this is wrong. It is a call to action that we need to step up for our country. And this is something we can continue doing. And it is not work that can be done by a few people. It's people standing in the spaces they occupy or saying the same thing. A people's revolution. The NAC administration was brought in by a people's revolution. The constitution was again a people's revolution, if you like, because it was a revolution on the way we should be governed. We must safeguard this. We have a beautiful country. We have enough resources for our needs, but we are sitting idle when they get abused. We are sitting idle when we are getting murdered, when we are getting abducted, when all our rights are violated. It's time to say to William Ruto and his rogue regime, enough is enough. And to remind him, don't you dare tell us enough is enough. You are just our employee and you stand fired.
Senior Counsel Martha Karua, party leader, NAC Kenya, has been our guest. Keep it here for more. It's 8 a.m.
This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Umaga. Exam coordinators have collected exams across different counties. Eastern Region Coordinator Paul Rotich was accompanied by the Regional Security Committee and educational officials who witnessed the opening of the neck container at Mwea DCC's Embu County. Rotich urged exam managers to uphold integrity and professionalism, even as 164,766 learners are sitting for the exam in over 5,000 centres. Meanwhile, teachers from Nyamira primary learning institutions received their Kenya Primary School Education Assessment papers at the Nyamira County headquarters. Around 17,000 grade 6 candidates are expected to sit for this assessment that starts today.
IFSA is a continuous assessment that we started when they were in grade 3. It's not terminal, it's continuous assessment exam. And the learners are expected to do it in their natural setup, very comfortably, only using our security officers to escort the exam to the centers and not to police over administration of the exam. We have not heard of hardship cases, but should there arise any, we will update you in due course.
And the fate of thousands of candidates in banditry-prone regions hangs in the balance as the Kenya National Examination Council next start administering exams today. The candidates are not sure whether they'll write exams without disruptions that has characterized their learning journey. The Kenya Primary School Education Assessment starts today, while KCSE began last week. Some of the insecurity-prone areas include North Rift, Northern Frontier and parts of the coast where learning activities have frequently been paralyzed due to cattle rustling, banditry, terrorism and inter-clan conflicts. Here is Maralal Nat official Kiringa, who called on the government to play its part.
Our teachers mostly, they normally leave those teaching career because of security. If security is beefed up, our teachers have no problem. They can teach anywhere.
The government will prosecute exam cheats through special courts that have been constituted. Education CS Julius Ugamba says the courts will arbitrate in cases of exam malpractices.
We are going even further to request or to have a special court sittings or special court system to ensure that where somebody is caught with an offense, the process is that much faster and therefore the punishment will come that much faster. And we have special systems that are in place, including special security features on the papers, and everything has been put in place, including we'll be doing a lot of triangulation of even communication.
Now, activist Boniface Mwangi went missing for hours yesterday after he was picked by police from his Machakos home. He was later traced to Kamkunji police station in Nairobi, where he was detained. This is almost 50 kilometers from where he had been picked up. Now, Kenya leader Martha Karua says the only reason why Boniface wasn't abducted was because his followers went rampant on social media.
We cannot be having abductions by state agencies or by police officers or security officers not in uniform, who refuse to identify themselves, who refuse to say for what offense they are picking somebody, and who do not disclose where they are taking someone. I believe yesterday it is the fact that the social media went viral. That's the only reason they took Boni to Kamkunji. Otherwise, if they were taking him to a police station, why was it so difficult to say so at the point they picked him? Why was it difficult to say we are police officers, we are here for this and that offense? I believe if it were not for social media and for Kenyans and for the media generally, Bob Jagi and the Aslam brothers would not have been released, and we do not know what would have become of them.
Karua further reiterated that there is a special abduction squad that is operating with the blessing of the government, and most Kenyans who have no networks end up dead.
I know there are many other people being picked who do not have networks that can cry out for them, and some never return. We now know of the Kampegulia gentleman whom they abducted. 1 week he surfaced dead. We know of Gen Zs like Denzel Omondis, who was picked during the Gen Z protests and surfaced in Aquare dead. The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights listed over 60 people, if you like, missing. We do not know whether they have updated their list and who else is missing. It could be in the hundreds. What have we become?
That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Umaga.
102.5 SpiceFM, Kisumu.
It is a busy Monday morning in the city. We're looking at traffic still coming in strong on the Thika Super Highway, and it's coming in from the Allsop stage at this point. Some of that traffic also heavy on Kiambu Road, and some traffic then still on Limuru Road coming in heavy towards the CBD. It's very heavy on Wairimu Way this morning past the address heading out towards the CBD, and also Langata Road is heavy going towards the Nyeri Stadium roundabout. There's traffic coming onto Raila Odinga Way and then into the city this morning. Uhuru Highway starting to pile up as you get out towards Lusaka Road and Langata Road Junction. Very busy on Likoni Road this morning as we look at that interchange coming onto Likoni Road, Enterprise Road. That's busy. Also Lunga giving serious traffic as you head out into that direction. As you come off of Mombasa Road, it's not too bad until you then get towards this area coming in from Cabanas, and that's going towards the interchange. It's also very heavy coming off of the Eastern Bypass, heading towards Mbakasi. So all this to watch out for this morning. And as we are still in traffic hour, how about we talk on SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Well. On to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. Ndu, as we go into this hour, please tell everybody who is tuned in and they'd like to study in Ireland how they can do this.
So there are many universities in Ireland. Okay, let's just start there.
Yes.
I think it's interesting that one of the universities is called the University of Limerick. You can go find out later what a Limerick is. Griffith College, University of Galway, I beg your pardon. Again, University of Limerick, Dublin City University, Technical University of the Shannon, Independent College, University College Cork. These are participating universities in the what? The official Study in Ireland Fair. You fancy studying at the university level in Ireland? Well, here's an opportunity to find out what the top universities are telling you. You can apply on the spot. You have amazing scholarships up for grabs. There's visa consultations. So all you need to do, one package deal to get you to either to find the university that you're looking for, find out what financial aid is available, and also find out what you need to do to get your visa. All of this is taking place. Why should you register now to attend the Study in Ireland Fair? Because you have the direct access to top universities. You can discover Ireland's career opportunities and you can get expert visa guidance. It's all happening on the 9th of November from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Gallant Mall in Parklands in Nairobi. All of that information, one place, one day, one time. Register today and find out how you can have your university education all done and dusted in Ireland.
Very good. And that's very, very true. City. So the Aga Khan University. Hey, what's up with the mic, City?
This one.
It's upside down.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. Yes.
All right. So the Aga Khan University Hospital is doing something.
Yes.
When it comes to 9,950 shillings.
Yes, for that amount of money, you'd be amazed at the things that you can actually get for that amount. Princely as it may sound, you have to juxtapose it with what it is that it's for. It's called your health.
Okay.
The continuation of it and the betterment of it.
And the juxtaposition.
Yes. There are all those details, and there's the clear understanding that if you want to stay healthy, you have to do something about your health. It's absolutely important.
Right.
Now, what they're saying is, look, we've brought healthcare next to you, literally next to you. Wewe hapa, healthcare hapa. Okay? And they're saying,
wasema kama pua na mdomo.
Bwana iko hivo ama pua na macho. Okay? Whose plural is what?
Jicho.
Mecho. Okay, then
Machos.
And they're saying all you need to do is go to any of the 53 outlets, and all they will do is tell you, please let us check and determine what your health status is. Once they have done that, you will know, and then you can do something about it. Yes, for all you know, you may have prevented a calamity which was already knocking at your door. For all you know, you'll be told you're perfectly okay. Now, for men over 40, I have this special message for you. Stop messing around. Go and get yourself checked. And once you get to around 40, there are very many things that are beginning to go wrong.
Right.
You get to the 5th floor, you're going to start needing body parts.
Right.
So please go and get yourself checked so that you can take care of your health for the future.
So they can start ordering your spare parts.
Ordering your spare parts. Oh my God. That special one, CT.
Okay. For the next hour, we want to talk about bribery in this country. Not just corruption. No corruption, you talk about corruption, you think, big procurement, bribery, which is where citizens interact with corruption on a one-on-one, on a daily basis. Okay? The question we asked you, CT, is have you recently been asked for a bribe?
To be asked for a bribe, you need to find me. Okay? Yes. Or I need to be doing something where I can easily be found. Well, I don't drive to work, so you're not going to find me. And if you stop the Uber I'm in, you're going to be talking to the Uber driver. But Uber drivers tend to be fairly careful. The point is this. I will be at a point where bribery is an issue if it's something that I have allowed to have accommodated in my life over time. It won't be that, say, I am stopped and I'm already thinking of a bribe. It is something I must have been doing.
Okay.
Yes.
That's one way of thinking, where you think that you're asked for a bribe because you've committed an offense, or you're in a position where you're being accused of having committed an offense. However, you could be asked for a bribe because you're seeking a service.
Yes, there is that detail.
Right.
But I have an advantage. Those of us who are on radio like we are, and people who watch us on radio, people get to know who you are. So people are more likely to want to take a selfie with you than they're likely to ask you for a bribe. Okay? So I am actually the wrong person to ask that question because I am not going to be treated like an ordinary citizen. But you can see somebody saying, after you have received the service, this I have been told. Lakini surely hata baridi yote wazee chai. Yes. That I have been told.
You don't consider that a bribe?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Because a bribe is an inducement. I'm giving you money so that you can do something for me. If you've already done it for me, what may be inappropriate is, why are you asking me to thank you? I should decide that I want to thank you. So if you ask me to thank you, then you are essentially what? Soliciting. So it could comprise what constitutes a bribe. Yes.
Okay.
So what I normally do though, I walk with sweets in my pocket. Literally.
Yeah.
And they're in my bag. I will even demonstrate.
So mtu anasikia baridi unampatia peremende.
Unafanya hivi bro. Kwanza sukari kio kwa mwili.
I'm curious sweet.
Hutamini. Joto kwa mwili.
I want to
He will give you.
Once for 2 bob.
Our guest for this conversation, as CT is fetching some sweets from his bag.
Expensive ones.
Nerima Wakojiwa is the executive director of Siasa Place.
Yeah.
And Okoh Pondo is a civic educator. CT,
imagine they are not cheap sweets, by the way.
Of course.
Caramel.
Hey, my friend. Proper sweets.
You're already being bribed.
Thank you.
Okay, let's demonstrate. Now determine, am I bribing you?
Nerima. Oh, these are mine?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's yours.
You're clearly not accustomed to being bribed.
Hi.
We are.
Add one to Nerima so that it's 3-3.
Is it?
Equity. I appreciate that.
shake a sweet.
So essentially, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is, do these constitute a bribe?
Well, if you have been asked for a bribe and you give it, then it constitutes for a bribe. You will welcome our guests with the day's proverb.
That I will.
And then they'll give us their perspective when it comes to bribery in the country.
Yes, that will happen. We have been in the Maghreb area. This week we are in the state of Libya, an extremely interesting country. It was even once a kingdom. It is no longer a kingdom. What they have is a very interesting mix. They have a chairman of a presidential council. My mother tongue is interfering with my pronunciations this morning. There's a vice chair presidential council. They even have a prime minister. Then they have a speaker. They reconfigure this political thing to suit their purposes. Okay? The proverb: he whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself at the fire.
He whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself
by the fire.
By the fire. Nerima, what's your interpretation of this proverb?
You know, me and these proverbs, man. I don't like them. I never like them. Man, okay. So, how I'm interpreting it, most people warm themselves by fires, but because of what you're wearing, it's also to be aware that you cannot do what everyone is doing for your own protection. So sometimes it's for you to be wary of your surroundings and you don't do things to normality because of what your currently context is key. That's how I've understood it.
Of course. I think mine will be, don't deliberately take yourself to danger, knowingly that, because you already know your situation. So like in our case, you know very well, for example, you are on the wrong side, then you're still taking yourself to a situation where definitely you're going to expose yourself to a certain kind of a problem. Because even me rushing here, I've faced a very interesting case of bribery this morning actually when I was coming. Yeah, because I was biking to this place. So then my driving license, so you know how they do, once you get the motorbike license, so it has to be stamped. So I have the old one, it has not been stamped, but I have a slip that I retrieved from eCitizen. So now the officer insisted that, no, you have to show me, I want to see the stamp now. And I said, it's the police station that said, you no longer do it. So I struggled. Then along the way I told them, here's a post, I'm heading to Spice. And they said, nyini wana habari enda. So actually, that actually saved me, or else I would not even have made it to this show.
Yeah.
But can I mention something? Yes. Every time I watch this show in the morning, this is the book that I have. It's a book written, it's called Wisdom from Africa. And every time I'm just listening and going through some of the proverbs I hear you say, I'm always amazed.
So you had one. Today's proverb, you've come across it before.
Yes, but I think in an Igbo language in Nigeria, because this one has in different African languages, then translated to English.
Very good. Very good. Okay. Context then. Bribery in Kenya. And Nerima, I know at Siasa Place you've been doing a lot of work on bribery. And recently you've been going around engaging with people on issues of bribery. Paint that picture. What's that all about?
Sure. So over the last week and a half, my team managed to travel to 5 counties. So Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru, Homa Bay, and Kitui, and having focus group discussions with about 30 to 40 young people, and just asking them the question you just started this conversation with: when's the last time that you were bribed? And we're getting very, very interesting feedback, both at that interaction and also on the platforms now where these videos are shared, which is on Sigei. And what we're seeing is there's a lot of arbitrary arrests, especially amongst young people. Just walking, you can be arrested. Just being outside your house, you can be arrested. Opondo has already given us a situation which, if you didn't have that poster, he would have insisted you go to the station. You would have gone to the station. So people are living in a different Kenya. And you're even seeing how because people are refusing to bribe, they actually get punished. People have slept in jail for days because they refused to bribe 5K, 3K. There's even a young lady who talks about her brother being arrested and being in jail for 7 months because they couldn't come up with the amount to take him out. And now he's a drug dealer. His life just spiraled, and he was arrested when he was 16. So they didn't even check to see his age. They just assumed he was an adult because he's big-bodied. So we're seeing a lot of stories around, people paying for livelihood, paying to be able to join KDF, paying to be able to get a job opportunity. But we're also seeing the other side where people are paying to see a doctor. They have to receive services. They're paying to skip the line, or they're paying to get an ID. That's the one that is worrying, because an ID opens your doors to opportunities and your livelihood. So if you can't get that ID, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And a lot of times even they have lost their IDs and someone gives the story of, I've lost it and we can't afford the 1,000 to replace it. So we're basically living under the radar. So I think, some of that information is still coming in, but I think it paints a different picture of what bribery means, especially for young people. It's a whole other dimension.
That's interesting, of course. So, even as we look at this, because I think that's very interesting. When we think of bribery and corruption, we think that it's usually something that you offer to get yourself out of a jam, isn't it?
Yep.
That you're in traffic, you've done something wrong, or
there's an offense involved.
There's an offense involved that you have committed, and that you're now trying to get yourself out of it. And so usually that's what comes to mind, that, okay, you're going to part with something so you don't have to go through this whole other drama of, getting arrested, going to court, whatever. But now we are looking at a whole other kettle of fish, whereby things that we would have otherwise deemed as a right.
Yes.
An ID, for example. You have a right to be identified by your own nation as a citizen. And that piece of paper, that card, is your right. Whether you're being asked to pay for it or not is another story. But to have something which is a right, you pay somebody, that money goes into somebody's pocket. To apply for a job, whereby you have the necessary skill and talent, education, whatever, but you have to pay somebody to get even considered. It's not even a guarantee that you get the job. To be treated in a hospital or a medical facility. So now it just opens up a whole other dimension of things that are actually happening. Is this worse than the former? Is this dimension worse than the former, where we said, okay, yeah, public service vehicles are bribing cops so that they don't get arrested because they're doing the thing? Is this now when you are saying that essentially we're devaluing, we're debasing the value of the citizen by asking them to pay for things that they ordinarily shouldn't? Is it worse than the other?
That's a very interesting question, because you see, even for the matatus, for example, when they pay bribes, I've been in a situation sometimes when I'm traveling from Nairobi to Nakuru, and sometimes you just count the number of times that the matatu has to slow down, then immediately the driver will pull his hand outside and drop something. Somebody ask the driver, why must you do this? He says, I'm not on the wrong, but I have to do this. I do this for me to operate on this road. Yes, most of the time, actually, in most cases, you ask this gentleman, look, you have everything. You are dressed, you are in the proper uniform, you have insurance. And why are you still doing it? He says, if I don't do it, tomorrow I'll not be on this road. Nerima has given some very interesting example, and then I'll add another one. You see, like these loans that young people also apply in the community, because this topic today is about the reality on the ground. Even something for you to get a loan to do something, like you used to have like the Wezo Youth Fund. Some of these officers were very corrupt. You are applying maybe as a group of 6 people, you're applying 100,000 shillings maybe to do a business because it is open and you can apply for it. But then you'll be told for your papers to be received, then now you have again to give another amount of money for your papers to be received. And then bribery comes to some very weird levels. You're a class rep of a university. Someone is submitting probably their assignments very late. You are demanding a hug, just a hug from a lady. And to you at that level, you still feel like this is not something. If you don't do this to me, I'm not submitting your assignment. I'm not taking your assignment this moment. So that these things that every day we relate with, and we never know how these things then now when upscaled, they become very dangerous things. Because when you were young, to me, I associated bribery and corruption to government.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you grow, you realize that every day, in one way or the other, there are some things you are doing yourself without even knowing actually that you are bribing or you are accepting a bribe.
That's when you normalize it. Because, again, most people do not think it is wrong to give, when you are stopped, to give 100, 200 shillings. It doesn't, it's not, if you ask them, they say, no, it isn't wrong. And part of the reason is because you're not paying for anything you've done wrong, you're paying for convenience. Because what is being sold to you is inconvenience. If you do not do this, you're going to be here for the next 3 hours. Now, somebody weighs it and says, do I really want to be here for the next 3 hours? No, I don't.
So it's a convenience. And it's like the system is then made by those who are within the system to be such an inconvenience and gruesome journey that then you are forced to pay. This moves from just being bribery to being extortion. Right? So they are extorting you. So we make it so difficult to come in here, by the time we process your paper, it's going to be midday. By the time we do this, it's going to be this much. You've gone to court. By the time they sort out your paperwork, the prison lorry will come. And after 5 p.m., those who haven't processed their bail and bond, we have to go to industry area. So, kama unataka nikusaidia before lorry kuje, So it becomes, and that's what Barry is saying, we moved a long time from bribery to extortion. That now what we have is extortion. Even that case that you're saying of you are submitting your assignment and somebody says, for me to accept this assignment this time, past the hour, you must give me a hug. Surely.
That falls in the category of sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment.
Direct. Expressly so. So there are so many other cases that we are seeing. It's not just the issue like Ndo, you're saying. It's not just asking for a bribe so that you can get off the hook because you have done something wrong and we've both established that you're on the wrong. This is because you need me.
Can I highlight I think one that is very open nowadays? You realize that most young people actually nowadays even fear walking on Fridays evenings or a day to holiday, because that is the time that the police officers do their job they know very when you're arrested on a Friday evening.
It's a long weekend.
Yeah, it's a long weekend. Tomorrow maybe probably you have a gig and maybe you have the only hassle that is putting food on your table. Then now you are presented with a situation, either go sleep spend the time in the cell until Monday or give 1,000 shillings. And I want you just to think as an ordinary citizen,
it's a lot.
What are you likely to do? Because now this person taking advantage of you, knowing very well you're not on the wrong side, but the moment you are put inside that what we call Mariamu, that big lorry, you have to do it.
Nerima, you shared some of the clips from your barazas in the 5 counties, and there are some that we've actually put it here so we can play them.
Okay.
I want to play one that caught our attention.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
So bradhangu alifukuzangwa shule akiwa form 3 akakuja home tu venye mtu like yeye ndo mpole kabisa kwa familia, so yeye alikuja tu home. Madhi akamwambia Justina, do wewe utatulia wiki moja mbili nipate do. So kuna hii siku bro yangu akakula sapa and then akasema na huku kuna joto, akatoka hapo nje ya gate. Watu wa Kiamai kwa mnajua Kimbo na watu wa Huruma. Kimbo hiyo time alikuwa jirani, alikuwa anaishi Kambi Moto. Si bro yangu akatoka nje akampata hapo, akasimamisha dinga, akamwambia mambo kijana poa. Kamzana unafanyanga kazi gani? Akamwambia mimi ni wa shule, hata huku ndo home. Kuna mama ameweka hapo kibanda penye mama alikuwa anaishi hapo nje. Akamuuliza, mama unajua kijana? Huyo mama sasa mimi sijui ni nini. Akasema mimi simjui. Sikimbo akashika kijana wetu, mtoto wa form 3, akampeleka stage. Mama kwa udu, kila mtu kwa udu. Tukaitishwa dau 5, ameandikwa preparation. Tukakosa. Ilikuwa ngona Tuesday. So Wednesday asubuhi akapelekwa kutini. Bro yangu akaenda ameandikiwa preparation, kuna visu. So hadi huyu mtoi anashindwa nini na happen. And then awajangalia hadi age ako 16. but ni mrefu. Sinaona tu kuna design mavijana wana grow, anakaa hadi mkubwa kuniliko. Mimi hadi nasimama na explain ni bro yangu mdogo. Naulizwa kwa nini mkubwa kukuliko. So sasa bro yangu ikakuwa hii kesi hatuna anything, huko akaitishwa 15k. So tulikosa 5,000, saa 15k akapelekwa Inda. Bro yangu alikaa Inda akakaa for 7 months na hivyo ndo ali drop out of school. Saa hii alitokanga. Tulikaa tukachanga, tukamtoa, then after 1 month tukaendea si lazima mrudie nini cash bill. Wakatunyima sijui kakuwa like hizo story mob. So after bro yangu kutoka, so like nikigo back to mental health wise, bro yangu hakuangi poa hata ukimwangalia saa hii. Akakuja akaingilia drugs. Like go back ukimwongelesha anakuuliza sasa mimi sijamaliza shule, hii nyumba yote mmemaliza shule, mmeenda college. So unaona huyo mtoi anakuanga like na trauma, anashinanga amedoze. Ukimtafutia kazi haiwezi fanya, jua anakuuliza masaa nikitoka job nipatane na huyo sanse nitadu.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. SpiceFM, Nakuru. The weather with SpiceFM.
Cloudy in Nairobi at 19, going to highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 28 in a partly sunny Nakuru at 16, 19 and partly sunny in Nyeri with highs of 28, while at 17 it's mostly sunny in Eldoret, going to highs of 26, 26 and sunny in Mombasa with highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 28. It's partly sunny at 23 in Kisumu with highs of 30, while at 21 it's partly sunny in Kakamega. We'll see highs of 28. The rain continues in Kampala at 19 with highs of 28 as well, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 27. It is 14 and sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 26, while Mogadishu at 29 is now sunny with highs of 31. Monday we'll see highs of 21 in Addis Ababa, where it is sunny at 26, and it's clear at 26 in Lagos with highs of 31, and partly sunny at 25 in Kinshasa with highs of 30.
Spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life.
The traffic coming off of the Eastern Bypass touching on North Airport Road is spilling over towards the Cabanas Interchange and then out towards Mombasa Road as you head towards Siokima. So that's heavy this morning. Very heavy also on Langata Road coming out of Huru Gardens through towards the CBD. And we're still seeing some traffic on the Thika Superhighway now, more or less limited to the after your service lanes at Survey through towards the underpass. It's busy then on Kiambu Road, and we're looking at it all going in a westerly direction. Then very busy on Limuru Road as well as Waiyaki Way. James Kishuru still continues giving through towards the Red Hill Link Road, but there's inbound traffic on the Red Hill Link Road. Some of that is going to go off onto Waiyaki Way and the rest back into Lavington. So we're keeping an eye on all of this. We are still in traffic hour, and you're going to have bits and bobs of traffic in many parts of the city this morning. Keep your wits about. Talk to us. SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Time nilimaliza form 4, nilikuwa na interest ya kukua KDF. Mbona unacheka? So it happened. Nikakutana na mkubwa fulani kwa hiyo department ya KDF. Hiyo time ya recruitment akanipea barua confirmed, hadi saa hii niko na hiyo barua confirmed. So ilikuwa like nifike tu field nionekane, na akaniambia inahitaji 300,000 but nikishapeana 100 hizo zingine zitakatwa nikishaingia kazi, you see. Na nilitoa nilipeana 100,000 nikapata hiyo barua. Then RSG what happened? Job sikupata, nikapata barua, ikabidi niende mpaka huko kwa hiyo nini yao headquarters, but nikaambiwa sasa next nitauawa. Nikarudi home nikaachana na
These are what you actually found out on the ground, Nerima Wakojiwa, when you went to the various counties. These are different accounts from the different people on their interaction with bribery.
Yes.
That first one that we played just before we went into the break, where the lady is talking about her brother, and her brother, 17-year-old, is just picked up, goes, trumped up charges, ends up in custody, comes out, drops out of school, goes into drugs, has mental health issues. I mean, that's just a painful, very, very painful thing for even this girl just to recount. What happened to your brother is just because you were poor.
And you could even hear in her voice she was choking up. And you can see the effect that it has on the entire family. And imagine the neighbor who didn't recognize or refused to recognize that child and say that she doesn't know who this person is. And I'm sure they replay that moment wondering, what if the neighbor said that they know this boy? What if he didn't walk out of the house because it was too hot that minute? His life would be different. But even today on the front cover of the Daily Nation, the headliner is "Our Turn to Eat." And so it shows you what these stories are showing us, that when they eat up there, and which is the work Opondo does in terms of showing how counties are losing resource, when they eat up there, the trickle-down effect and what it means, especially to the ordinary citizen, they can't live their lives. People are struggling just to have access to their basic rights, access to opportunities, even their own livelihoods. And this is the demographic that is the largest in this country. And so when you begin to pay to have access, we are taking a turn that unfortunately only leads toward conflict. Because what we're saying is the poor, their lives, the underprivileged, it doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to afford this. It's going to get to a point where they cannot afford this. And you can hear her choking up where they were left with 5K to be able to get him out, and they couldn't come up with it. And now, because of that 5K, this boy's life has turned for the worst. And so there are so many stories like that, which unfortunately I don't think our leadership recognizes how it is creating such a ripple effect in their society, in the economy, because you cannot build a nation when the nation is sick.
This is true. So essentially, we're looking at a situation that continues to fester, and it is, and we cannot look at these issues in isolation, because you cannot say, okay, well, it's a sister and their 17-year-old brother, they're trying to figure that out. Okay, it's one. No, it's not. It's many, many, many cases. This young man who's being asked for, I mean, I was
100,000 shillings.
300,000 shillings. I'm in shock. For a job that doesn't pay you a tenth of that. Do you get?
Yeah.
The job does not even pay you a tenth of that amount that you're bribing to be able to get in. So what does that do? It shows us a picture of the hopelessness that already is existent, that people are trying to then find a leg up out of. And what is happening is that they're becoming a lot more frustrated. So how compacted or how compounded are these issues upon them? Because we are saying that we are getting to a place where society is going to be so devalued. People are going to be so devalued, so debased, that you have to look for money that you don't have to just be.
I think for me, reality sometimes hit me hard, and especially in Nerima 2019, I contested in Kibra by-election, the youngest candidate in that race, and it gave me an opportunity to see the life.
You wanted to be president?
No, to be MP of Kibra when Ken Okoh yeah, when we lost our area MP. So I just realized that even sometimes, for you to be given a microphone in a pulpit in a church, you have to pay some money.
What are you talking about?
Yes, I'm saying the truth.
To who? Who are you paying?
To the pastor. Because you know that is their crowd, and you have to pay to be given an opportunity to speak in the church. For you, sometimes even just to access some community meetings, you have to pay to bribe some of the owners of these NGOs for them just to access a certain crowd. Now, even the worst part, and also where we have also to call a spade, you see even the media itself. I've been in cases where people come on the ground, you're doing your rallies and everything, then somebody tells you now, do you want your party to feature? Now you have to do this. For you to, and you know, already it looks like it is like a way of life now, because even to some of the things that you would have expected that it's just normal, things just keep on being done the same way.
Listen to this one. Michael Ambende is posting a comment on YouTube and says, I was told of a story where parents are tipping teachers for them to get their children extra attention during class time.
Yes, that's true. I know someone
What do you
who's doing
mean?
that.
It's
Yes,
true.
that's true.
It's true.
Yes.
Extra attention.
Yes.
Explain.
If I
Please go.
Just a little bit, then maybe now she can. It's just so especially if you're in a school where there are very many students per class, right?
Yeah.
And you see that maybe your child is not doing well, and then you say, okay, now how can then maybe the child will complain to you and say, okay, if I ask a question, teacher doesn't answer or doesn't pay attention. You will be told, and if you escalate this issue, you will be told, well, you need to get into the culture of how this is done. Okay? You want maybe the teacher to pay attention to your child.
You want your teacher to notice your child.
To notice your child. And this is the words that were said to me. You want the teacher to notice your child, or you want the teacher to pay a little bit attention to your child, at least even look on the register and know that your child is called Bob.
Hey.
You can buy tea for 1,000 shillings.
What?
You can buy tea for 500 bob. You can buy tea for 5,000 shillings. And in the next term, you will see that even when you visit class or when you visit school, the teacher will greet you very well. Subject teachers will greet you very well. And you'll find that your son or daughter is not complaining anymore.
What?
In this Kenya today. That one I know.
Yeah. My friend's son is doing very well in school. And she pays 3,000 extra to the teacher. And he sits at the front row. He's in class earlier. He gets special tuition and tuition. He leaves later. And he's also exposed to other programs like scholarships or these missionary schools that come. Yeah. They put him on the list first. That's my friend's
For an extra
son.
3,000, unofficial 3,000.
Yes.
This
and
is not paid to the school admin. No.
And the teacher calls. He's in boarding school. The teacher calls every week to update. This is how he's doing. This is the lesson he's struggling in. This is what we need to focus on. A personal brief every week.
Maybe mine is a different experience now, not about school, but just also how still officers work with the community members. So there's a case of a criminal that needs to be arrested and has already been maybe made public. But for the police to come to arrest this person, again, you have to go and bribe them to come and do. Even after you saying that we know where this person is, this is the person maybe who defiled a child, or this is the person who did this. Again, you have to bribe this person to come. And on the issue of the schools, how many times we've heard of cases where a child, for example, you are called to school A, but the parent wants you to go to school B or school C. The parent will find every way to make sure that it happens, even bribing the administration. Then the child knows, what are we teaching? That with the money, you can always buy your way all through. You buy admission, even if the other school that you got was a nice one, buy admission. You bought a scholarship, and you did not deserve to get that scholarship. You bought grades, and you keep on buying. What happens later on in your own life, even when you become a leader?
So, what are we looking at here? Essentially, things that folks are being paid to do anyway. That is their job. If we want to look at teachers, they're supposed to teach across board. If we look at the police service, it's supposed to guarantee security and supposed to guarantee that criminality is reduced, if not expunged completely. So we're saying that what is happening is that things that you're supposed to do anyway, and that you're being compensated to do, is that you're now being asked for favors for those things to be done. So we then also, again, we're looking at a devaluing of society. But then one that really then does tug at me is what we hear that to receive medical care, please explain this to me, that to receive medical care, there's also a bribe that's being given to whom? The hospital, the doctor, and you're still going to pay? I don't understand why. How is this working?
You went to the reception because maybe you are on a queue. Uko kama number 7 uko. And you feel like your case is very urgent. Utalipana na uvukisho, utasikia tu mtu ametoka the other side anasema nani Peter, enda uone nani uko mbele.
Who is this person who is receiving this money to move you up in the line?
The receptionist, let's say, is like a small, we are talking of this small community clinics. Yes.
So the person that you first of all find, maybe it's the cash office, or right? Hey.
It's everywhere.
So it's basically, CT, that's what you were saying earlier. We have normalized this
Yes. You see, when you normalize it, one is sometimes even greeted with a frown. That is no longer the case. It's just normal. Let me ask you, those of you who go to churches, how often do you hear the people who are there preaching, talking loudly, strongly against even such matters and pinpointing? When you look at the configuration of certain religious institutions, the people who are either in the board, the people who are the elders, do they represent the sort of people whose value system you would consider to be above board? Or are they the people who are known to contribute huge amounts to the church? This particular basket here is actually fairly rotten. It's not one of those things that... Now, the problem is, when you look at the consequences of all this, those who are already disadvantaged and whom the government should be looking after, it's now not a question of them being disadvantaged or being desperate, despondent. They get to a point where nothing in their lives actually move. Nothing. Meaning, you wake up to hopelessness every single day. And then you ask and you wonder why crime is on the increase. All these things that you're seeing, you wonder why.
I mean, I'm almost afraid to ask these institutions, because all of these things are happening under a representative institution, whether you want to look at the police, whether you want to look at education, health, etc., etc. Are those in positions of authority?
Aware.
Let's ask.
Okay.
Do they know?
Do they know that these things are going
that they
on?
don't.
It's possible they don't know. And if they do know, are they doing anything? You see why I said I'm afraid to ask. Are they doing anything about it? Are they aware that these things are going on? Because like you said, if it's happening here, then it either is sanctioned unconsciously or consciously from a higher place. Do they know that this, because it's bad? What we're talking about today is bad.
Yeah, what we're talking about is bad, and what we're hoping is people to continue to share their experiences on the ZKE channel, because we are receiving so much that I feel that there are some people who don't realize how bad it is. And it's across board, different parts of this country. It's not a urbanized city thing where we have a lot of slum development, etc. So I think maybe they don't realize just how dire the situation is, because what happens when people run out of money, they begin to use their bodies, especially women. So we have the cases of sex for pads, especially with teenagers.
Sex for transport.
Sex for transport. So that's what now it will evolve to if it's not taken care of or managed at the highest of levels. But do they care? I do not think they care. I think they're very focused on their political positioning, power, and accumulating their own resource and wealth. I don't think they see the country is actually disintegrating in front of their eyes.
Two things are likely to happen here. You see, when I look at the Gen Z protest, that was the Gen Z raising the bar and saying, we're not putting up with this nonsense. Okay? Now, all these ancient crocodiles like myself are going to die at some point, and probably not too long from now. These young people will get older, they'll be in power. What I find fascinating is how someone doesn't realize that they will have to exit the stage at some point. It doesn't really matter what they do, they will have to exit. What will they be exiting to? You see, they're building it now and they don't seem to see it. A country that is organized, stable, those who are disadvantaged and unprivileged get to be taken care of. Those who are elderly are taken care of. Those who are infirm. All these things, when you set them in place, when you retire, you will be in that position yourself. As for the wealth that people believe they have accumulated, wealth dissipates. That thing can vanish, because most of the people who are wealthy in this country, unfortunately, happen to be the political class. They purport to be businessmen, but they're not businessmen. To understand it, just look at people who, in an earlier regime or earlier times, appear to have a lot of money and were politicians. Some are poor to the point where you actually can't believe that this person once upon a time had money. The point is this. We are burying our heads in the sand and looking to people who are actually not going to provide a solution. The political class in this country will not provide solutions. They will not. The only way they will do so is if those who elected them make it clear to them that they expect this, and if they don't, then they have to exit early. That's all. Because in the absence of that element of accountability, they will continuously run roughshod over us in everything they do. It's not even complicated. Now, so why should we, who are the vast majority, sit back and let people sit on our heads and all we do is complain? I mean, that it's utter nonsense. This isn't even a call for violence or revolution. It's just telling someone, we're not going to do this. It's not complicated. We're not threatening you. We're just saying, if you don't do this, we're going to get rid of you.
Yeah.
You will leave because we elected you to do this for us. It's not complicated. Accountability is something that must be part and parcel, because this path we've taken, it's not a good one at all.
And what's so good about this conversation, even starting with the bribery issue, is that it's highlighting, these are the pain points that Kenyans have, right? That young girl and her family, whose brother has now become a drug addict, is mentally unwell because of the experience that he went through. The kind of people that, Opondo, you're telling us, who have, gone to apply for a fund, youth fund, Wezo fund, and they're asked, first of all, part with a bribe to access a loan that they're going to repay. And so they end up not then taking the bribe, so they don't end up improving their life. Those are their pain points. Those are the issues. When they wake up in the morning, that's what they're thinking about.
Yes.
They're not thinking about regarding Gachagua, whether he's going home or not.
Exactly. And actually, when City was talking, something came to my mind very fast. So I do a lot of videos on TikTok. And one of the videos that I did recently and was just calling out, and I was saying, and I said it openly, politicians are not immortals. They will die at some point. The president will die at some point, the governors, everyone at some point. The question we should always ask ourselves, when we die, which kind of a nation would we like to leave behind? And then if we are asking ourselves that question, then is what are we doing towards making that a possibility? Because again, so many Kenyans are finding themselves in tough situations because of poverty, because of the way the system has already been designed to make certain things happen. So you ask yourself, like, this looks like the normal way of life, but is that really how it's supposed to be?
There's the assumption that the people you are referring to actually care and that they're bothered about this. They're not. When Du first started saying this a year or so ago, he says, what makes you think these people actually care about you? I just say, maybe they don't. They honestly don't. They honestly do not. Because if they did, the things we keep reading about and hearing about,
we'd stop seeing.
We would see something and hear something different. You're being told of 27 years in which you're going to pay a debt. This is this expressway. You're being told there is 30 years if the airport deal goes through, you will pay. And you're being told, actually, no, you will not pay. It is a PPP. Really. This expressway is not free. You're paying. Okay? When you go to the airport, you will pay. You will pay. So when you're told you're not going to pay, let me take the view that the two of you are, say, in your 30s. Okay? 30 years from now, you'll be my age, because I'm in my 60s. 30 years from now, will be dead. Okay? Now, a child who is being born today will be 30 years old.
True.
All right? A child who is 10 years old will be 40 years old.
Yes.
They'll be paying for something they don't even understand.
Yeah.
You do not understand the big benefit that this will bring about. In 30 years' time, we'll need another airport. This one will be outdated. So what are we going to do? Acquire another loan so that now the 30-year-old has to get to 60 before something else happens. Anything that is supposed to benefit you is something you will see. If you're told it benefits you and you don't see it, then please understand it's not going to benefit you. And the person who's telling you it will benefit you is lying to you. It's not true. And it's not one person. It's a concert and it's a choir. And they've all learned how to sing the same song.
And we've all learned to get used to it.
Yes.
There was one disturbing video among the videos that you shared of the... let me just play this video, right? Let me just play it. Just listen to it. It's about 2 minutes long. Just Go through the story.
SpiceFM, Nyeri.
Like a couple of months ago, beshte yangu alibiwa do, like there's a transaction ilimekiwa from her phone. So tuka decide twende tufuatilie, tukaenda kwa this customer care services, wakakata kutupatia hiyo info, wakasema hiyo ni police case. Tukaenda polisi. Kwenda polisi tukaambiwa twende side ya CID cause sasa hiyo ni kitu inafaa mambo ya tracking and all that. Wacha tufike huko. Venye language huko atatukua tunaielewa. Au makaro alikuwa anaongea ni kama kawa nalipwa wenyewe wao ulipwa. Sasa wakatuliza tuko na ngapi? Tukawaambia hatuna do cause ni story ya do tunafuatilia. Haya, wakasema kama una do, kama tuko ready kuvua. Alafu saa kitu ilikuwa fani, huyu mwenye ameibiwa sio yeye anaitishwa kasusu. Mimi ndo nilikuwa naitishwa kasusu.
Huwa inamaanisha sex.
Sasa nashindwa mimi siwezi lipa na kasusu yangu na hata do zenye tunafuatilia sio zangu. Kwanza hiyo ndio ilikuwa the weird part. I wish hizo do zingekuwa zangu. At least maybe.
Imagine.
See.
Imagine.
And that's the police.
Actually,
and now you see, as she's telling this story, it becomes like it's a hilarious story. Like, this is how we have just become, well, gotten used to it.
Let me tell you something about these situations. The perpetrator also becomes a victim. They may not see it. All these they are human beings, citizens of this country. They're just like you and I in the sense that they have relatives, they have sisters, they have children, like us. But somehow, when you have that uniform or you're in that office, you become a completely different being. I am certain that members of their family do not know that they are this sort of people. I am certain that when they go home with certain money and they're doing things, nobody asks, perhaps because they figure it out. But why is it then that there is this huge attempt we have, and we're talking about it today, where anybody who seems to be saying something that is truthful is under threat? Why? Because they know what is true, they know what is honest, they also know what is right, and they also know what is wrong. Now that wrong is a bit of a bother when you keep mentioning it.
It becomes a bit too much.
Yes.
And Narima, you're asking people to share their stories.
Yes, we're asking people to share their stories. We would like to do a study, but also to statistically share just how bad things are and to emphasize on the institutions to do better.
Indeed.
And in the book by, Michelle Wong, It's Our Turn to Eat, there was a time when Kibaki had tried with corruption. But failed. With this particular administration, there is no effort. Absolutely none. And what we are showing is the triple effect that it's bringing and how now it's so ingrained, it's in the grassroots, in rural areas, it's even affecting our grandparents, children, babies, elders, and there's just no way around it unless we have the political goodwill. Not because it's a good thing to do, but it's because it's for the survival of the people. Because what we're seeing now, if people don't have access to health, people have actually died after this shift. And we cannot continue to live like this is normal. It's not. It is not normal.
Agola is asking, I share my story, then what?
Then we hope to be able to take these issues further. The work that we're doing with accountability, which also Apondo is doing in his platform on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
It's putting pressure. People have to put pressure.
If you hide it,
pressure.
you don't help.
You see, Narima, if I may help you with just a perspective, when you speak about it, it is out in the open. We can no longer pretend it's not there.
Yeah.
I asked a very important question on TikTok, and I said, Kenyans, as we keep on blaming these leaders, where do they come from? Who put them into these positions of power? Over 1,000 comments on TikTok. More than half were saying, guys, let us stop blaming the leaders. We are the problem. We elect these people. Some of these people are a perfect representation of who we are. Those were the kind of response that I was getting. And I think now it is time to to face the bull by the horn. So, number one, when we share these stories, as the person asking, the more we share these stories and make many people angry, then people realize that this is not the way of life.
They either talk about it or
Yes.
do something about
This
it.
is not the way of life. When it works to your favor, call it connection. When it works against you, call it corruption. No, this is not the way of life. Things have to be done in a certain way.
So I got the number that you wanted us to share, which is on WhatsApp, 0701 244 896. That's 0701 244 896. You can save that number. It's the campaign is ZKE. Start chatting with it on WhatsApp and share your story. It'll be a chatbot that engages with you, where you can then share your story, and then from there also, once the campaign is ongoing, you'll get the results. You get to hear what other people say their experiences are. Right?
Yes.
Yep. Nerima, thank you very much for joining us as well.
Thank you.
Okoh Pondo, first time here. It's been a long time coming. Karibu.
Latiff, can I just say something maybe before we conclude?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Because we started with a proverb, allow me also to end with a certain proverb, but now from Tanzania. It says, Sisimizi hawaumani. A black ant does not bite another black ant. Every time I do videos on TikTok and people are asking, why are you concerned about the resources of Mandera? Why are you talking about Wajir? Why are you talking about Kisumu? Why are you talking about Nakuru? The thing is that Wajir is Kenya, Kisumu is Kenya, and we are concerned about everything. This is one thing I would like to remind all Kenyans. Let us stop defending politicians and the leaders who are not working for us. When we attack anyone, I mean, by this I don't really mean violent. When we are calling things out, let us just call it out. Corruption is corruption, tribalism is tribalism, and let us never favor anyone, because we are members of the same group now. We are all the Sisimizi, and we know that our struggle is not struggle against anyone to be specific. In fact, I tell people all the time, our issue is not even the president or the governor.
Yeah.
Our issues are, we are fighting ignorance, we are fighting poverty, we are fighting corruption. Let us look at how to fight these issues and not to fight individuals, because if we do not really change the system.
Let's end it there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okoh Pondo is a civic educator, and Nerima Wako-Ojua is the executive director of Siasa Place. It's 2 minutes after 9, time for the news.
Good morning, this is the news. Hamla Ubanga. The Kenya National Examinations Council has released the timetable for the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment. The exams will start with a rehearsal on October 25th, which already happened, followed by the main examination, which will run from today all the way to 30th October. Candidates will sit for the mathematics paper this morning, and which will be followed with the English paper in mid-morning. On the second day, which is tomorrow, candidates will sit for the integrated science paper in the morning and Kiswahili, Kenyan Sign Language in mid-morning. On the last day, candidates will sit for the creative arts and social studies paper in the morning. And in the corridors of justice, the High Court is today expected to proceed with the murder hearing of the late MP George Mushai. Mushai is said to have been murdered on the morning of February 7th, 2015. He was shot to death together with his bodyguard and driver. Those on trial over his murder are Eric Isabwa, alias Chairman, Raphael Kimani, alias Kim Butcher, Mustafa Kimani, also known as Musto, Stephen Estiva, also known as Chokore, Jane Wanjiru, alias Shiko, Margaret Nyeri, and Simon Wambugu. They have, however, denied the charges. A forensic examiner who has since testified in the case was unable to give details regarding the shooting. Separately, the court is to mention a case in which impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua was sued over utterances he allegedly made on NIS boss Nurdin Haji. The purpose of the mention is to fix a ruling date on the matters raised in the case. The petition was filed at Milimani High Court seeking to compel the National Cohesion and Integration Commission to investigate Gachagua over the alleged utterances. And the county government of Kiambu has announced the disposal of unclaimed bodies at Thika Level 5 Hospital. In a notice published in today's dailies, the county stated that 81 unclaimed bodies are lying at the hospital's General Cargo Road Funeral Home awaiting collections. 19 of the bodies are from the hospital, with the earliest admission being of September 2021 and the latest being in April 2024. And the top leadership of the National Assembly is in Naivasha, Nakuru County for the 2024 National Assembly Leadership Retreat scheduled for today through Wednesday. The retreat themed reinvigorating synergy in leadership for accelerated discharge of the mandate of the National Assembly builds on last year's theme, building synergy in leadership, enhancing the legislative agenda in the National Assembly. According to the program released by the Office of the National Assembly Speaker, the House leadership will convene to address key legislative priorities and strengthen synergy within the Assembly's leadership. And finally, a trainee Catholic nun who went missing from Rongo Catholic Church on Thursday last week has been found dead inside a sewer pit within the Rongo Parish Sister Convent. Homa Bay Diocese Vicar General Gabriel Atieno said the body of the deceased, aged 23, was found floating inside a sewer pit within the Sister Convent by one of the nuns who was heading to the farm. That's the news wire. I'm Lea Umaga.
If a lion shows you its teeth, it doesn't mean it likes you.
It doesn't mean it likes you. It won't start. A liar calls as witness one who is either dead or far away. Say it in Kiswahili.
Below nin inte yenin der ayu markati kadikta. You know this character called a liar. He has disturbed people. So when you tell him who are your witnesses, he will take you to a place where it is difficult to verify.
For someone like me who sweats a lot, I cannot survive there. Sweating is biblical. Good. And you must blame it on Adam, not me. Because Adam messed up and he was told, now you fellow you, by the sweat of your brow, thou shalt eat.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, so looking at traffic this morning, still continuing in traffic hour. We're looking at some of it then coming in. Ring Road Western still busy as you're getting towards the city. On the Thika Superhighway, traffic continues as you go out into the CBD as well. Let's take a look at what's coming off of Enterprise and Lunga, Lusaka. All of that this morning was quite busy through that whole area. And I think we're coming to Likoni Road on the interchange, still very busy. Enterprise Road has been busy from the jump this morning. Looking at Langata Road, also getting towards the CBD via the Nyeri Stadium roundabout continues to be busy this morning, and we are still in traffic hour. It's busy coming off of James Gishuru out towards Red Hill Link Road, bumper to bumper. Lower Kabete, then through towards Spring Valley is also extremely busy still. Limuru Road still continues to give this morning. We're keeping an eye on all of it. Let's see what happens as we come out of traffic hour soon. SpiceFM KE on X hashtag The Situation.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
9 after 9, on to the final hour of Kenya's biggest conversation, The Situation Room. Yeah, so the number has been posted and pinned on YouTube, the number for the WhatsApp bot, right? Mm-hmm. Yes. And those who may not be able to see it, you can read it. 07?
0701 244 896. It's a ZKE campaign, sharing stories about, what's really happening with bribery on the ground. And you can continue to share those stories.
Yes. Safaricom all-in-one package. It is all in one.
It is. On your phone, if you were to dial star 544 hash, you would get a menu. You would select number 4. Go monthly. Go monthly will then take you to various options whereby you can decide what amount you want to spend. Why is this important? Because gone are the days whereby you have to worry about running out of airtime when you're in the middle of the call and you hear that proverbial tit tit tit, or when you send a message and it just doesn't go, or when you're trying to log onto the internet on your phone and you see the buffering thing just keeps going and saying you have no internet connection. Nobody wants to do that anymore, do you? No. Safaricom has also realized that it can be quite a pain in the behind to have that situation happen to you. So they said, you know what, we're going to fix this. How are we going to do that? We're going to give you a bundle whereby you pay a certain amount, and for 30 days you do not have to worry, you do not have to break a sweat when it comes to your communication. Send 2,000 SMSs for 2,000 shillings. Send 2,000 SMSs.
2,000 SMSs.
Talk for 1,000 minutes. The people who do that, more grease to your elbows. You have 17 GB of data. Just be talking to people and up and down. Then WhatsApp, we are not even going to put a price tag on it. It's absolutely free. All those things, get on the internet, talk to people, voice call, video call, etc., etc. 1,000 minutes, CT and I can just continue. Safaricom says, look, we hear you, we got you. Go monthly, all in one, never have to worry about running out of airtime. Just because you dial star 44 hash, pick the thing, pay it, you keep talking. 30 days, then you can top up again.
That's a lot of talking.
It's quite a lot of talking, man.
That's a lot of
the
talking.
SMS is the one we... Well, how am I going to send 2,000 SMS?
You'd be like those guys who, to have a conversation where you're just greeting somebody, you send like 10 SMSs. Hi, send. How are you? Send. How is everything going? Send. How's your mom? Send. How's your dad? Send.
Then when you stop, you say, I'm taking a break, then I'll start again in 5 minutes.
I'll be back.
How are you?
So as I was asking, how are you?
Receive my message
yesterday.
The person who may be able to do those things is our next guest. Engineer Eric Ohaga is the Director of Nuclear Energy Infrastructure Development at NUPEA, the Nuclear and Power Energy Agency. You see, right now, they are doing that public participation. So he can send all those messages to the people around the place where they want to put up the power plant.
Yes, he can.
2,000 of them. Hamjambo, tafadhali nawaomba mjitokeze kwenye hafla.
Who
goes to 1,000 people?
Engineer, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Karibu sana to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's a hot seat of the Situation Room. When you talk about nuclear, this is not hot.
You guys are on another level of hot.
You guys are completely now, when you talk about different temperatures all together, right? That's why you need to be close. You're putting up a power plant close to the ocean so that you can cool it constantly.
Take a dip real quick.
So on Friday, we had a conversation with somebody who's been very, very active on the ground, Phyllis Omido. And she and other, civil society activists have been on the ground engaging and looking at the proposal by NUPEA to set up a nuclear power plant in Kenya. First, we had a conversation with your CEO a couple of, I think last year, and the plans were, what was going to happen in setting up the power plant. So now we heard from the community. Now we want to hear from the agency itself. This whole thing of nuclear power, bwana. Hey, what is it all about? So karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Very good, very good. Very good. Now, among the things that we need to tell you, even as we get into that conversation, is the importance of doing regular health checkups. Kwanza mtu kama wewe una deal na nuclear.
Over 40.
What?
Our healthcare seeking behavior as men is terrible. Men are taken to hospital, when there's no option, they have to be hospitalized. All this can be avoided. All these emergencies we keep hearing about can be avoided. And to avoid it, all you need to know is your health status.
Sure.
And that you'll know if you have a checkup. Okay. When you get to a 40, why I mentioned 40, Because all these things, you hear the word prostrate. It's not someone else. It's probably near you and you don't know. When you hear perhaps the heart isn't quite what it was before, it is you. All these things, what you consider, well, I'm not so young, so there's joint aches. Please go and ask the experts to tell you exactly what is happening. They will tell you. And when they tell you, you will know what to do. And then you'll have saved yourself the headache and heartache of being rushed to hospital, of going to ICU, of exhausting your cover, looking for more money, bothering your relatives, bothering your friends. All that you will avoid.
Sure.
And the Aga Khan University Hospital is saying for 9,950 shillings, all the things I have said, it's possible. And there are 53 outlets across the country where you can get this thing that you've heard me mention. 53. 50?
Sounds
very many. Yes.
99.50 is the amount.
99.50 is the amount. If you don't have it, start looking for it slowly, steadily until you have it. Then go and get yourself checked.
Yes. Plan for it. Makes sense, engineer, doesn't it?
It does. Whole body checkup.
Bas, you've understood it perfectly. That's the one. Leave knows part of your body behind.
And also, by the way, among the equipment that they use to do those checks, equipment that actually the agency repair.
In fact, that was music to my ears.
Because nuclear is not just about nuclear power; it's also nuclear energy.
Sure.
And some of these equipments that use nuclear energy, you are in charge of making sure that they are safe. Hizo
bas
akina MRI inaangalia akili yako vile
natembea left and right.
Okay. Siti.
Yes.
Patia engineer mhandisi.
Yes.
Medali ya siku.
Yes. Our proverbs for the last 3 weeks, now this is the 4th week, have been from the countries of the Maghreb. This week we are in the state of Libya.
Yes.
The proverb: he whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself at the fire.
He
whose trousers are made of dry grass should not warm himself by the fire.
What's the interpretation of this? What do you think the Libyans are saying? Engineer.
That is serious risk because you will not live to tell the story if you did that, actually. So you must take precaution against possible burnt from behind.
Very good.
Yeah.
Must take precaution.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
You must know, as you're going to sit there, what is likely to happen.
Yeah.
And prepare for it.
Sure.
And if possible, avoid it.
Yes.
Okay. So now you people, you've been working in the background and now you come to the foreground and you're telling us you want to set up a nuclear power plant in Kenya. Nuclear power. Why?
Good.
Why?
Now, let me say we have not been working on the background. Actually, we have been in the forefront. This thing dates back 2010. And if I may take you back to 1997, session paper number 2. If you read that session paper number 2 of 1997, 6.24, Kenya wanted to become industrialized. And that time it was by the year 2020. And that 6.24 proposed utilization of nuclear power if Kenya were to become industrialized by the year 2020. Now in 2010, again, looking at the Asian tigers, and Kenya wanted to improve the quality of life of the people under Vision 2030. And there are these Asian tigers. One good name is the Kumkom Chanjong. This is one guy who helped South Korea to become what they are. You've heard stories that in 1960s, Kenya loaned South Korea. And they used the human capital to turn their fortune to what they are today. So in 2010, 2012, this was one of the brains that Kibaki government utilized. And we wanted to have a GDP of 10, double-digit growth, social system society, a political scenario whereby we are led by issue-based. And these are 3 pillars that actually looked at the Vision 2030. And for us to be able to do that, there's an enabler And the enabler in this case is energy. And now this energy must be an energy that is stable, that is able to drive industrialization, that will create opportunities for the Kenyan people. Industries, the first questions industries ask when they come to this country, and this question I also ask you, how is the reliability of the power system in that country? That's the first question they ask for them to be able to establish the industry. Therefore, energy being a very important issue, nuclear was proposed to be able to offer 4 fundamental things. One is to offer stability of the power system, because nuclear operates for 2 years without a single shutdown. So you have 366 days times 2 without a flicker. That calls for stability of industrialization. People have been crying about cost of power, and I know when you look at your bills, the first thing you cry about is, what's this? Do I have a factory in my car, in my house? Now, nuclear is an answer to reduce tariffs. Nuclear operates for 80 years. And if you look at the delivery cost of energy over that period of time, it drives down the cost of power. The other issue is on the climate change, and this is very pertinent issue to all of us. Nuclear energy is a clean source of energy, and it comes in very big portions. And therefore, it's going to reduce those footprints that we are talking about in terms of our energy mix. We want to be 100% clean energy by the year 2030. We want to remove all these fossil fuels that are contributed towards the greenhouse gases. And the answer to that is nuclear energy. The other issue is on security of supply, that you're able to be self-sufficient with your supply in the country. And therefore, nuclear will be able to offer that. So Kenya as a government established a committee in the year 2010 in the Ministry of Energy. This is about 14 years ago. This transformed itself into a board, again demonstrating the seriousness that the government had in the issue of development of nuclear energy, where a pre-feasibility study was done. And in 2019, now the board transformed itself into an agency, again cementing the fact that the government wanted to ensure that the legal framework is in place for us to be able to move with speed and develop the nuclear energy. Again, in the same 2019, a regulator that is responsible for regulating matters nuclear was established. This is it was initially known as Radiation Protection Board, which was dealing with conventional sources of energy. But now, because of the nuclear energy, it was established there. So the new pair being established now as an agency in 2019 has been undertaking various activities, including siting activities, including reactor technology assessment activities. And we are following the IEA, International Atomic Energy Agency, milestone approach, which guides you on how you develop nuclear power plant. And it's done in phases, 3 phases. And they come and evaluate what you have done as a country, and they give you a go-ahead to move from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3. So in 2015, looking at the 19 infrastructure issues, we have 19 infrastructure issues ranging from the national position all the way to procurement. And in between here, there are things to do with the legal framework, security, safety, safeguards, siting itself, radiation protection, radioactive waste management, industrial involvement, that is localization of the matters to do with nuclear here, environmental protection. All these add up to 19 issues that they come and check against all those 19 issues. Where are you as a country on each one of these? And they mark it. If there's any wrong, you don't proceed. So under phase 1, they evaluated us in 2015, and they gave us some 15 recommendations, 8 suggestions, and 4 best practices. So from 2016, we have been working on those 15 recommendations and 8 suggestions to close up the gaps on the 19 infrastructure issues. In 2021, they came back now to check how far we had gone with the recommendation that they gave us in 2015. And they found that Kenya had made great progress. Out of the 15, we had met 11 of them. And they gave us a clean bill of health in that. And they check each of those 19 infrastructure issues, what you need to do and whether you have done it or not. That is the International Atomic Energy Agency. So we have done that. And one of the critical issues here is on the legal framework, because matters to do with nuclear is highly regulated internationally. And no country, no vendor will allow you to move an inch if you have not certified any of those conditions. And therefore, security, safety, and safeguards critical for development of the nuclear energy.
May I ask, Eric, if we just take a few steps back, talking about standards and requirements that may or may not have been met by global bodies when we're talking about nuclear energy and its use, nuclear power and its use, how has Kenya utilized, and can we see how Kenya has utilized the elements of its nuclear power, its nuclear creation? How has Kenya been using that over the last 2 decades, for example? What can we see that we can say, okay, Kenya's nuclear energy, Kenya's nuclear power has done this and to this degree or to this extent?
Okay, so there are two issues here. Nuclear power, which we have not developed. That's
yet.
Exactly what we are developing now, so that it can be commissioned by the year 2034.
Okay.
That's on the nuclear power bit. But nuclear technology applications have been with us since Adam was a boy. When you go to the hospital, and that's what when you're talking about full body checkup, it is all nuclear applications. They are old people when they are not injected, when they are not taken X-ray when they go to hospital, when they don't go CT scans, they don't feel okay. These diagnostic techniques are all nuclear applications, and they have been with us ever since. And the Atomic Energy Agency, through NUPEA, supports member states, countries with all this.
Give me 2 examples, for example, so that for us to break it down and see when we talk about these technologies, what exactly are we saying?
Cancer treatment equipments that are now being donated by IEA in Kenyatta National Hospital, Eldoret Referral Hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital, and also now Coast General Hospital. These are diagnostic cancer treatment equipment that are used to treat cancer from our people here. They are also in the agricultural department, where production of wheat, for example, is enhanced using nuclear technologies. When you go back to the Nyanza part, where fly is very common, you use nuclear technology to eradicate fly by reducing the multiplication of those fly, and therefore reducing them from breeding. So there are several applications of nuclear power, nuclear technology that have been with us, and we continue to utilize them in our country and many other countries. Now we are going forward to develop the energy part of it, which is generating nuclear using.
Okay, where does that all come from? You know, every time we think about it, we think about, okay, something bubbling under somewhere, and then there's gas that we pick up and put in a tank somewhere, and then it's used. Okay, so what exactly does that comprise of, and then why is it important? Because when we think about nuclear at that level, some of the countries that operate in that nuclear realm, we think about it in the terms of geopolitics, where somebody wants to be able to have that level of superpower, and we think about it for warfare. We know what has happened historically with nuclear power, and when somebody does have it, that kind of energy, then they're probably up some rungs on the totem pole of geopolitics. But when we talk about a developing nation wanting to explore its capabilities in this nuclear realm, what would it be for?
This is basically, we call it atoms for peace. And all countries that are developing nuclear energy is used for peaceful purposes, not for destruction purposes. You can never be allowed to make nuclear energy for
war.
To make bombs.
No. And conventions will never allow you to do that. And that's why we said there is safeguards as one of the 19 infrastructure issues. And also conventions. There are 4 major conventions that each country that is embarking on nuclear energy must actually accede to, and those are in regards to making sure that you utilize this technology only for peaceful uses. And it's basically atoms. You're just splitting atoms, and atoms are giving you energy. And this energy is very small pieces of uranium, but producing a lot of energy for purposes of power generation. So this is purely atoms for peace, not for any destruction purposes.
The conversation that we had last week was raising several concerns. Number one, that has NUPEA actually done a feasibility study on our nuclear needs, and particularly the area that you've selected to be where you'll put up a nuclear plant? Number two, have you done an impact assessment study? And how vast is that impact assessment? Have you done an environmental impact assessment, a social impact assessment? What's it going to mean? And are those documents available to be seen?
Okay, in terms of siting, and that is one of the infrastructure issues that I said, 19 of them. And for siting of a nuclear power plant, it's not like any other project that you've seen here, not like any other conventional power plants that will just go and say, I want to put a geothermal here, I want to put a wind farm here because there's wind, I want to put a solar plant here because there's solar radiation. This one, you have to do a complete, thorough investigation to certify that particular site. Now, for purposes of Kenyan case, this started in 2016. We looked at 29 possible potential sites by scanning the whole country. And as you say, there are some criteria that you have to utilize because nuclear require cooling. So you looked at the country and looked at where there are permanent sources of water. And you'll tell me, along the Indian Ocean, there's permanent water mass. Within the Lake Victoria region, there is a lake there, which will provide cooling purposes. If you go north, there's a Lake Turkana, which will actually provide water. So that is the first criteria. There must be a presence of cooling water. So we looked at those regions. In the Lake Victoria region, there were 16 potential sites. In the Lake Turkana region, there were 8 potential sites. Along the Indian Ocean, there were only 5 potential sites. 2016. It took 4 years to do that. And then you carry out what we call exclusionary criteria. There are certain things you look at once you have identified those areas. Are there issues of capable fault, earthquake happening in those areas? Are there potential of volcano happening in those areas? If there are any, then those areas are excluded from the candidate site. You are well aware that our Rift Valley runs from up there coming Lake Turkana all the way. So potential sites that were around those areas were excluded. So potential areas along the Lake Turkana region were removed, and also along the Lake Victoria because of the volcano. There is an active volcano called Huma volcano that is in Homa Bay, which is very active, and therefore that removes those particular areas. In Lake Turkana again, there is another volcano actually in the center of that lake, around that lake, and then because of the capable fault of the Rift Valley activity, then will not allow for you to be able to install a nuclear power plant there. So those 2 regions were eliminated based on those exclusion criteria, which is provided for by the International Atomic Energy guidelines on how to do a siting of a nuclear power plant. Then we are left now with the coastal region. 5 potential sites. And again, looked at certain criteria on these 5 potential sites and carried a very thorough investigation on these potential sites. And then they were then ranked again from number 1 to number 5. And then number 1 was a site in Kilifi, number 2 was a site in Kwale, 2 sites in Kilifi, 2 sites in Kwale County, and another one in Lamu County. So that's how we ranked them using that particular criteria. So that is how Kilifi became, we call it the preferred site. But this preferred site, it has not been confirmed. It has to be confirmed again through another detailed site characterization, which takes another 3 years to do that. Now to go into the site and start to do the studies on the site now, physically on the site, to be able to confirm. If by any chance, again, you find that it doesn't meet any of those studies, is negative, then you vacate that site and go to the alternative site and carry out those other conditions. So for siting purposes, that one has happened across the country. The report is available for siting, and that's how we came up with the preferred site and the alternative site. We have done what is called strategic environmental and social impact assessment. Not environmental impact assessment. There's a difference. One is done at the program level, which looks at the whole country, and that is what has happened. And, according to the MCA Act, requires that if you're undertaking a very major program like this of a nuclear program, which has very high public interest and all that, you have to undertake CESA. That CESA has been undertaken, and it has already been submitted to NEMA, and NEMA is reviewing that report. They even went to get additional expertise from Netherlands to assist them in the evaluation of that CESA report. Now, once that is complete, and now you go to site specific. For example, now if you go to Kilifi, on that specific site in Kilifi, if you have accessed that site, then you are required to do what is called the environmental impact assessment, which was planned between 2025 and 2026, once the CESA is complete. So that cannot happen now. It can only happen once you have acquired the site. Now you are on site, and now you carry out the environmental impact assessment, which is site-specific.
You said there were 5 sites along the coast. Or Eric, are we going to a break?
Let's do the break first.
Okay, let's do the break.
Okay. It's 25 minutes to 10. Our guest today is Engineer Eric Odor. He is Ohaga. Engineer Eric Ohaga is the Director for Nuclear Energy Infrastructure Development at NUPEA. That's the Nuclear Power and Energy Agency. We are talking about the proposal to develop a nuclear power plant in this country, responding to the concerns that have been raised by the communities along in Kilifi, or that area that has been proposed, and what else, also the other safety concerns that have been raised by environmentalists across. This is a very big conversation, and keep it here for that. As we go into it, City, you're sitting right in front of the Tala billboard, and it says what? Jijenge na Tala.
Yes.
What does Jenge mean?
Well, translated into English, it's build yourself.
Build yourself with Tala.
Yes, exactly. So essentially telling you Tala represents building blocks with which you can actually take yourself from one economic status to another. But it is simpler than what I'm actually saying. It's simple in this sense. What Tala is offering you is a solution to very many financial problems you may have. Whether it is an emergency, whether it is something that is long-term, whether it is something that you feel will help you change your life. All these things are possible because, one, Tala looks at what it is that you think is a requirement, and that requirement is in terms of amount, and it also looks at and gives you the options of what or how long it will take for you to pay. It starts from 0 to 61 days, meaning you can borrow today and pay today. You can borrow today and pay tomorrow. You can borrow the day after and pay several days after. Tala has been in existence in this country for over 10 years. But one of the things that makes Tala stand out is Tala was among the fintechs that actually sought to be regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. And they are. Tala also sought to be registered with the Data Commission of this country, which means they are prone to being held accountable. There are some fly-by-night supposed fintechs who, beyond giving you money, will ensure that every single person in your phone book is notified should you not pay. When you are regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya, such nefarious activities will not occur.
Indeed.
And your data will be protected. Indeed. The whole world will not know that you have not paid 3 shillings.
That's very good information. 22 minutes to 10. Cradle. CRAYDEL.com. Cradle.com. If you are thinking of studying in Ireland, there's a Study in Ireland fair coming up. On which date, Ndu?
On the 9th of November, and it's taking place between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the Gallant Mall in Parklands in Nairobi. Find out all you need to find out about universities in Ireland and what is up for grabs, direct access to top universities. You can discover Ireland's career opportunities for, when you're done with your university education. And you can also get great expert advice about your visa application. All of this, one place, over 4 hours on a Saturday. Find out all you need to know. Get your university education rocking in Ireland.
And you must register to appear there. Entry is by invitation only. How do you get the invitation? Cradle.com. CRAYDEL.com.
This is the Situation Room. The only way to
Save money on your rising electricity bill with StarTime Solar Home Solution. We offer a complete home and commercial energy saving system that includes solar panels with 15-year warranty, lithium battery with 10 years warranty, and an inverter with 5 years warranty. StarTime Solar Home Solution is efficient, reliable, and safe to power essential appliances, complete home lighting, refrigerators, air conditioners, washing machines, microwaves, iron box, instant shower, and entertainment devices, television, computers, Wi-Fi, and so much more. Say yes to reduced electricity bills and call us today on 0719 077 777 and get started on your green energy journey today. StarTime Solar. Power your life.
The weather with SpiceFM.
It's a sunny Monday in Nairobi, 21 degrees, highs of 27 and lows of 16, and we'll see highs of 28 and lows of 13 in a partly sunny Nakuru at 19. It's 21 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 25 in a mostly sunny Eldoret at 19. Into Mombasa, sunny at 28 with highs of 32, and we'll see highs of 31 in a sunny Malindi at 29. It's 25 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 30, while Kakamega at 24 is cloudy. We'll see highs of 28 and lows of 16. It continues to rain in Kampala at 20 with highs of 28, and it's mostly sunny at 27 in Dar es Salaam, going to highs of 31. It's 17 degrees and mostly sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 26 and lows of 11, while Mogadishu will be sunny through Monday, highs of 31 and lows of 25. It's partly sunny at 18 in Addis Ababa with highs of 21 and lows of 9, while it's a sunny day in Lagos. We'll see highs of 31 and lows of 26. It's partly sunny at 25 in Kinshasa with highs of 30 and lows of 24. Monday getting into evening is 19 and sunny in Beijing. We'll see lows of 6. It still continues to be foggy in Paris. Now at 13, we'll see highs of 17 and lows of 9. The rain continues in London at 12 degrees, going to highs of 16, and around things off in New York, where Sunday night is clear at 6 degrees. Coming into Monday, highs of 16 and lows of 5.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
20 minutes to 10. Our conversation with engineer Eric Ohaga continues. He's the director of nuclear energy infrastructure development at NUPEA. So he's the man who is at the forefront in the proposal to set up Kenya's first nuclear power plant. One of the issues that has been raised here is one of the proposed areas in Kilifi County, Matsangoni. Matsangoni is next to Matsangoni. As you're heading towards Malindi, to the left, Arabuko Sokoke Forest, the only coastal forest in these parts of the world. To the right, the Indian Ocean, okay, but then we have the Watabu Marine Park. We've got, all these ecological areas that you're talking about, protected and even recognized by UNESCO. And then you want to put up this thing here. Have you considered the impact that would have?
Correct. In the siting, that is one of the criteria. And I told you
that needs to be near and ecologically.
You check.
Okay.
You check the presence of ecological, environmental aspects like those ones. And Matsangoni, as you've said, is a ward within which our proposed nuclear power plant falls. And nuclear energy and nuclear power plant is a tourist attraction venture. And I just wanted to gauge your minds a bit. The only African country that's operating a nuclear power plant is which country?
South Africa.
Where is the location of Quebec power plant in South Africa? Quebec is called Quebec National Reserve. It is 30 kilometers off Cape Town. And the nuclear power plant is within the National Reserve. What does a nuclear power plant do to our environment? That is the question that people should be asking. Is there any effect from the nuclear power plant to the environment, for example? That is the question that we need to be addressing under the environmental impact assessment.
Is there?
There is none completely. There is none completely in terms of environmental degradation to the environment.
Are you serious?
Very serious.
What are the fears that you've heard from people? Radiation.
Yes, it's radiation. if you look at a nuclear power plant, and it's designed using defense in depth. Defense in depth means you are put in safety measures, and that's why the capex of developing a nuclear power plant is very high, because of the safety aspect. Anything that you can imagine all over the world that can happen to that nuclear power plant, put it in design and provide for it a mitigation measure. Nuclear power plant uses uranium. Uranium is put in something we call a pellet. And then that pellet is put in something we call a fuel rod. And that fuel rod is put in something we call a fuel assembly. And that fuel assembly is now put in a reactor. And that reactor is within a containment building. How many layers are those?
Those are five.
Five layers. And I said defense in depth. The location of the uranium to the containment building. And the containment building is 1.5 concrete. And I can tell you in terms of safety design, from generation 1 to generation 3 plus that we have currently, the most important thing that is considered is safety to human being, safety to environment, and safety to anything. They have had only 3 accidents since the beginning of nuclear power. Only 3.
In the world or
in the world? In the world. One was in the US. The second was in the USSR, former USSR.
It is in Ukraine.
The Ukraine. And then now the Fukushima one. The only 3 accidents that have happened. If you compare that one, even the accident that happened every single day here from border, is incomparable. But if you look at the impact of those accidents in terms of human being,
also incomparable.
Minimum. Because of these design features that have been put in a nuclear power design. And therefore, in our analysis of siting to Masangoni, all those factors were considered. There are 9 factors that you consider. Capable faults, human-induced events, flooding issues, seismology issues, environmental sensitivity issues, and then you rank them and you give them weights, and then you get the rank for each one of them. And then you're able to say this site has this rank, this site has this rank, and how to mitigate anything that can have a negative impact on the nuclear power plant. If we go now to the specific location of our proposed nuclear power plant, it's not touching anything marine. It's not touching Arubuko. It's not touching Watamu
Marine Park.
Nothing. Nothing. And a nuclear power plant has no effect whatsoever. There is nowhere where the radiation gets into contact with the environment for the 80 years that a nuclear power plant will operate, until you remove that spent fuel from the reactor to the spent fuel pool. And then from the spent fuel pool, you take them to the dry casts. And then from the dry cast, you now take them to permanent recipientary.
Engineer,
yes.
If you put up that plant in Masangoni, whatever the area is, what's the closest distance for the next human habitation that's allowed?
We live with nuclear power plant. And I want to give a good example. Myself, we're the first cohort group that were trained in nuclear in 2012. And we were within 50 meters of the nuclear power plant in South Korea. Our academy, and I lived there for 2 years. And I have.
And you're okay?
I'm very much okay. In fact, I've been facilitated much to even be here today.
Actually, engineer, the truth is,
yes,
there was no problem with the plant. The issue that are being discussed is the nuclear plant.
This proposed one?
No. The one he was being trained at. The problem with the nuclear plant is not the plant, it's when a problem occurs.
Yes.
The fallout.
Yes.
Radiation-related diseases.
Okay.
That usually is the concern, because when you talk about Chernobyl, what was over time, only 100 people died. But however, 68,000 people had to be evacuated. That was fine. But over the years, diseases that were then related, and the number of people who had disease that were related to this were over 9,000.
There's still today people living with
yes. All I'm saying is, the problem is everything you say is true. What is of concern is in the event that something goes wrong.
Yes.
The cost of that disaster, first of all, is monumental. It's something that there's very little you will be able to compare it with except a world war. Now, we are told, and when you read it is clear, that there are very few industries that have the sort of caution and the details to caution like the nuclear field. None. However, the communication of what it is that will be done in the event of something going wrong is just as important as telling us about the benefits.
Correct.
And oftentimes, that discussion isn't had adequately.
Okay, and I will always refer you to the 19 infrastructure issue. Number 9 is called emergency planning. Each country must ensure that you take care of your emergency planning in the event of an accident. But I've also said, in the design of a nuclear power plant, they take care of the worst case scenario. That assume an accident happens, put it in design. Now we are assuming an accident will happen, provide it in design. And in the emergency planning as an infrastructure issue, you provide for in the event of an accident. And the technology that we have currently, you require to acquire some piece of land to be able to build a nuclear power plant. That is exclusive for building a nuclear power plant, and it's 1.5 kilometer radius. You go to get that particular portion to be able to build a nuclear power plant. Of course, there are no people there because those are for infrastructure construction. Then within 5 kilometer radius, now you start to have people that you can account for now in the event of an accident. And that's why population is also critical when you are siting your nuclear power plant. So can you imagine you only require 1.5 kilometers radius? That is for the infrastructure development. Then within 5 kilometers, now you know the number of people that are there.
So basically
so that you can account for them. Even as the population grows, you monitor that population. So that in the event of an accident happening, you have time to take care of these people. And I told you, the 5 layers, those 5 layers of design of a nuclear power plant will not allow any radiation to come out of a nuclear power plant, even in the event of a most disastrous accident. So that if the government just announces that there is an accident or an incident in that nuclear power plant, then the emergency planning is automatically activated. You know where people are so that you can take those mitigation measures immediately. So that in the event of anything happening, no exposure whatsoever is released to the environment.
What happens with nuclear waste? Because it has been a global issue, a global conversation, that we know that folks have been irresponsible in terms of dumping nuclear waste in the past, and that has had its effect on community. What would happen today with nuclear waste? Where would that go?
Okay, it's not called nuclear waste. It's actually called spent fuel. I think that has been the misconception. There is no waste in the nuclear power plant.
There's no waste?
No waste whatsoever. There's a resource, which is uranium, the one we use to generate power, which splits and gives you energy. As it splits, it diminishes in terms of energy. Normally, it is enriched to 5%. You utilize it in a nuclear power plant for 2 years, then it reduces to 0.5% from 5%. That means its reactivity level has gone down. Then you remove it from the reactor. When you remove it from the reactor, it's called spent fuel. You put it in a spent fuel pool within that containment building. It has not left the reactor.
It doesn't leave the building?
For 80 years, it will never leave the reactor.
80 years?
80 years. 80 years. So you put it in the spent fuel pool. It has water and it has a moderator. What that water does to that spent fuel, it decreases its reactivity further. So from 0.5, it goes to 0.001%, which means now it is almost zero reactivity.
But if you were to release it somewhere outside of this containment, there would be possible harm to the environment and to people who may come in contact with it?
And that's why I said safeguards, security and safety guides nuclear industry.
But would it be harmful to anybody who came in contact with it or to the environment if it were not in this containment?
If you just decide to go, it's like touching fire. You see, there are things that if you want to harm yourself, like even taking chemical, and in the chemical industry, you are told that this must be guarded so that it doesn't come into contact with people.
Okay.
Yes. So from the spent fuel pool, since it has decayed further, it is then removed from that spent fuel pool and then put in a dry cast. Dry casts are like containers which are stingless. So those are over years. Those will have gone into about 100 years now, when the nuclear power plant has now been decommissioned, because after 80 years is the design life of the nuclear power plant. The nuclear power plant has to be decommissioned.
And thereafter what happens?
Then you remove them now from the spent fuel, that's what I was saying, and you put them in the dry casks.
And what do they do when they're in the dry cast?
They stay. You pack them in the dry cast so that their reactivity level can almost go to zero. The decay process takes a long time to go to zero. So you are taking them there so that the reactivity series can take them to zero. But it takes some time before it goes to zero. Then from there, you are then supposed to take them to permanent recipientary geological storage. Now that is after 100 years, so that now they can
so
be
completely stored. You dig somewhere underground and put them there?
You dig them somewhere underground and put them there. That is a solution that has been implemented in Finland and Sweden.
Sorry, engineer. So even this thing that you're putting into the ground, because you have no use for it anymore, it's still not deemed as a waste.
It's not waste because it can be refurbished.
Even after putting it in the ground?
Even after putting in the ground. Yes, for further utilization by the nuclear power plant.
Utilization in what areas?
In a nuclear power plant.
To do what?
You reprocess it.
It no longer has any...
You inject 0.5.
Yes, now you inject more energy onto it.
You enrich it?
Yes, it's called re-enrichment of the uranium.
All right.
So that then it can be utilized further in a nuclear power plant for energy generation. So it's a complete closed loop circle.
Okay.
How many plants have reached that 100-year point?
No. We have moved from generation 1, generation 2, generation 3. Now we are in generation 3 plus. Generation 2 had a lifespan of 40 years. And most of them have reached that 40 years operation. And once you hit that 40 years operation, you are supposed to decommission. Unless you apply for life extension. And when you apply for life extension, you must then do some refurbishment of that nuclear power plant. Some countries have done life extension, including Quebec, this of South Africa. It did apply for life extension for a further 20 years, and they have been granted that. So they'll be operating for another 20 years. That means that plant will go for 60 years. For operation purposes, then it will become.
So are we saying that in the countries where we see news of nuclear power plants being decommissioned,
yes,
it is because they've actually run their life?
Correct.
It is not the country are deciding in the middle of the life cycle of a nuclear plant, we are stopping.
No.
There's no country that is stopping the use of nuclear midway through the life cycle of that plant.
None at all. Even the German that you've been hearing all about, people will tell you about Germany are decommissioned. They have reached their lifespan of 40 years, and the country has not made a decision to extend the life of those nuclear power plants. And therefore they have decommissioned them, and they said now we are not extending their lives at all.
So they go to nuclear heaven. Okay. South Africa has a nuclear plant. One of the things you said is stability of power supply. That story isn't very true of South Africa. They have nuclear, they have power problems like a nonsense.
Correct.
They've been load shedding for 18 months.
Yes, do you know the reason? It's on the supply side. South Africans stayed for a long time without developing new supply. So the demand has gone over and above the supply. They have 18,000 megawatts that they cannot supply because they have not built new plants, they have not built new nuclear power plants, and even new coal plants and new hydros. They realized that when we were too late. And that's why, for you to develop any power plants in any country, it's a long-term planning that requires more than 15 years. So if you don't plan for 15 years, you will be caught up. And that's why even if you don't get nuclear by the year 2034, we shall load shed this country. Because it's already been planned, and it is in the National Energy Plan, that by the year 2034, you must meet this demand. If the demand continues to grow and there's no supply, what do? You knock out the demand by doing load shedding. And that's what's happening in South Africa. 18,000 megawatts. And they have a lot of transport system which is using power. Now they have extended the Quebec for another 20 years. And they have taken out request for proposal for 2 nuclear power plants from France. 4,800 megawatts, each 1,200 megawatts. Why? So that they're able to meet this demand that is ever growing. So the problem in South Africa is lack of planning that can meet any other country, and that is what was almost catching up with Uganda also.
Can I ask a quick question, because I know time is running down? I hate to rain on the nuclear parade here, but is it a priority for Kenya today when it seems that so many other things need to be done before we get to where that nuclear power, nuclear energy then is demanded. If we look at other nations and what they had done before they ensured that they now started to go into what many would call peripheral activity for economies.
Yes. As I've said, nuclear is a long-term project. It requires some countries have taken 40 years, like Ghana, started in 1957. They are now they're third. They will be the third in Africa to develop nuclear power plant. We have taken over 50 years.
We started in 1997.
Yes, you can see that. If you don't plan today, we get ourselves into problems in the future, and our generations will be there to blame us because it requires a lot of planning, it requires a lot of infrastructure development and the funding aspect which must be.
So it's not a today's solution.
It's not a today's solution. We are looking for 2034, and we started in 2010. We are not bringing it today. We are not bringing it in the next 5 years. We are bringing it in the next 10 years. But we must plan today to get it right.
And if we delay, we move into 2040.
2040 or 2050.
And in the meantime, we may be caught up by...
We shall be caught up.
Shall,
yes.
Not may.
We shall be caught up. That one I'm sure.
Engineer Eric Ohaga has been our guest. He's the Director of Nuclear Energy Infrastructure Development. Thank you very much for tuning in. And yes, he has answered very many of the questions. Thank you for tuning in today. Join us again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. It's now.